Hello and welcome to episode 369.
Ooh, uh-oh. Did
That's
you
right.
prepare any sex games?
No,
369.
I
Oh,
didn't.
god damn it. Well, me
Sex
neither.
games.
I forgot.
There's a
Oh,
song
man.
like that, right?
I mean,
369.
I could do a
Yep.
quick
3-6,
search
that's
on
true. That's true. The Yin Yang Twins. That's true. That's all we need. Let's just play some Yin Yang Twins the whole time in the background.
What year did that come out? Wasn't that like 20 years ago?
Oh,
At this
God.
point?
Oh, boy.
You want to feel
Uh,
old? Figure out the year
Yin
of
Yang
that song.
Twins, 369. When did it come out? Oh, boy. 2008.
Oh, almost 20 years ago. My goodness.
Jesus.
Wow.
It's funny because I recently was doing a different version of this on my stream, which is like from, I don't know, it's like 20s or so. I gotta look it up. It's like a clapping song. Have you ever heard like 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed the back around the streetcar line, the line broke, the monkey choked,
Yeah.
Nope.
and they all went to heaven in a
Yes.
little rowboat.
Yeah,
Nope.
I have
I
indeed.
don't really know the derivation of the song, but people were like, what? I've never heard that.
That's
Yeah,
where
I
they
know,
got
I
it.
know that song.
Good. Thank you, Watts.
that
Everybody
like
else
a
Well, that's
child-
why. That's where the song comes from with the Yin Yang Twins. Yeah,
Is
it's
it
all
like a
part of
nursery
it.
rhyme?
It's all related. Yes.
Maybe it's 1965. I don't know. I never really looked up the origin until today. So hopefully, yeah.
I got an important question for you guys. You know, a question that was asked to me by a friend. So not my question. How long was the longest it ever took you between poops?
Oh
like-
man.
Like,
Between bowel movements.
yeah.
It was probably
BMs?
when it's like going on vacation, right? And you're
Ooh.
not prepared for how it's going to affect you.
You got
Yeah.
the poop fear. Your
Yeah.
body doesn't.
Your
you're
body's
like, I don't
just
wanna
like,
go on that toilet.
I've been awake for 35 hours. We're eating at different times. We're sleeping at different times. You're
Lots of
eating
carbs.
different food. What
Yeah.
is going on?
no fiber in your diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
more
I
concerned
don't
with your.
necessarily eat super healthy on vacation.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not really thinking
You-
about oh, I gotta bring my fiber supplements just in case we get backed up.
Right?
Does traveling make you tense too? Like everything's all like closed off.
Oh,
yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, it
like,
does,
yeah,
it
you don't
does.
want to have to poop in the airport. That's not pleasant.
No.
I'm pretty
That
sure
is
the
true.
entire
On the
time I was at
plane.
summer camp, I never pooped.
That's not.
How long was
Ideal.
that?
I was there for a month.
Oh, that's a while.
Jeez.
In
Pretty sure
general, that's not good for you. Yeah, I mean, it should be at least, hopefully, every day, every few days, as long as it's, regular. But occasional like weirdness is like, But if you go more than like several days, you should double
What's
check. it.
several?
More than 3 days.
More than
I'd say
3
do
days.
do a check and talk to your doctor, maybe.
There's
But-
over the counter stuff you can get for that kind of thing.
But then be
It's called-
careful
Oh,
about going
Taco Bell.
Taco.
Taco Bell.
But again, like, did anything change? That's the important part too.
I bet. So the other problem is like if you try to overcorrect it and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get a bunch of fiber supplements, fiber drinks, fiber everything,
Oh, yeah.
and then you get too much fiber, but then you're not drinking enough water, so then you're backing yourself up even more. You got to
Whoa.
manage the water to fiber.
Yeah, you
Dude,
may
just go for
actually
the clean
hydration.
flush.
Well, it's a good
Drinking
point.
water.
From
We'll
what,
do it.
literally, yeah, just drink a bunch of water as well. But
That
if
will
it has
help
been a
a
few
lot.
days, I am not a doctor, but I would recommend
Not a doctor.
a very light, like Miralax or those types of supplements, which take they're like a sodium
He
something.
knows the
and
name.
Yeah,
I'm always
takes,
I'm
like, a day.
scared to take that on vacation. though,
No,
right?
because they're not. It's not like Colon Blow,
no.
which is a cereal on Saturday
That's what
night.
I'm looking.
That's
I mean, my friend
That's a
is looking
cereal
for.
on Saturday Night Live, but it actually takes like 24 hours, so it's not
Okay,
like
okay.
and it's a very mild, like, it gets water into your system, but you should also hydrate and see. But
Ask your doctor
now I'm
about
concerned.
colon
I mean-
blow.
Cool.
Where do I
Probably,
get
was that like from the
super-
90s SNL? Like,
yeah, with Phil
Chris
Hartman
Farley.
and all. Is Phil
Yeah.
Hartman days.
Hartman,
Dude,
yeah.
check out that sketch
early
on YouTube, I'm
90s,
sure.
late 80s.
So
yeah.
good. And now, Super Colon Blow. And it's like he's sitting on a bowl of like cereal, and it's like a volcano like pushing him up to the top.
I think
Brilliant.
my first kind of knowing about Phil Hartman was he was on a show called News Radio. Wasn't it that
Oh
show?
yeah, classic.
Yeah, that's
show.
like the first time I ever saw him. That was like, when I was young. It's around that time, 90s.
I'm like what's that meme with the dude from the movie?
The dude
Sure.
from the movie.
Where he's
I
pointing at
know that
himself on
guy.
TV. Once
Leonardo
upon a time in
DiCaprio?
Hollywood. Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Every time I
Oh.
see any actor from
That's the
news
guy?
radio, I'm like, ooh, news radio.
That was very vague.
Well, memory's not so good anymor.
Not when it's been,
Forever.
He
like
has to
30
poop
days.
so bad.
Yeah,
he has to
you're
poop so
backed
bad
up,
he can't.
clouding your mind.
Uh,
Oh man.
Well, video games.
Video games are cool.
Yeah. What have you guys been playing?
Let's hear from Jay, man.
Yeah,
Jason,
Jay,
have you been able to
More
play
from Jay.
any
Yeah, I'd like to hear
games?
from Jay.
So yeah, I haven't really been playing any. The only legitimately the only game I think I've been playing the last month because of the holidays and everything is Raid Shadow Legends. But that's like a passive thing. The other, I guess you could count eBay as a game, right? I'm buying
It's
games.
it's a type game.
And
Oh,
trading
okay.
games and selling games. Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah, like hobbyist stuff it counts even. You build in that new Titanic Lego ship that's $750. That's fine. Counts.
I've been watching my kids play. My daughter, who just turned 4 like a week ago,
Oh.
she's started playing Switch games. So she's been playing Mario
Oh.
Kart.
Oh, very
And
nice.
So her and my son have been playing Mario Kart and Super Mario Wonder and Kirby. And so I'm facilitating that.
Interesting. Is she like, can she control everything, or is she still kind of like just like fixated on the TV and not really understanding the movements?
The first couple of days we had Mario Kart on the because there's an auto go setting that you can have it where it just goes and then you control the movement.
Oh, okay.
She needed that for the first couple of days, and then we didn't turn it on and she figured it out. But if you didn't know, you can actually use the right joystick to go instead of hitting A. So she's doing that, but she's doing it all
Like
on
an
her own. And
accelerator.
she's getting like 6th to 8th place in 50cc, which is, and she understands how to use her power-ups and everything. Like she's learning pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah. Faster than
that's
my
pretty
son
good.
learned. I think.
Learning the dirty blue shell, the laws of the dirty blue shell.
When you're in the back in Mario Kart 8, you get the bullet bill or whatever its name is. You
Bullet
get that
bill.
a lot.
Yeah.
And you get the gold
Ketchup
mushrooms.
items.
Yeah.
Do you
It's nice though
have?
because you can customize. She might be a bit too young for that, but we're not playing with the blue shell, and here's why. Let me sit you down and talk to you about these.
In this
power-ups.
family, we don't throw the blue shell.
Yeah. We don't.
We yell at the
get
people
cheap
who
wins.
throw the blue shell.
Let me tell you though, there's so much anxiety in Super Mario World. That game is not formulated for little children in mind.
Really?
Because
Super
you
Mario
have,
World.
or sorry, Super Mario Wonder. And
Oh.
so our older kid who's gonna be 8, he's 7.5. He is an emotional kid and he's loud. And so when one of the
Your
other
kid Briar?
when one of the other people playing gets a little bit ahead, he gets upset because that
Mm.
game pulls
Oh.
people to their death if you're behind. So if you're going a little slow or he's too far
Yeah.
ahead and then everybody else is floating around him and it's just chaos.
Creates
He doesn't
hostility between the kids. Wait, did you have siblings growing up, Jay?
I had an older brother, yeah.
Isn't that just totally normal no matter what you do though? You'll find it no matter where you look.
I was the one causing chaos usually because I wanted to
Yeah,
play and
that's
my
why-
brother was like, no. And so I'd go and turn the game off.
Nice.
There it is. At least you wanted to
And
go
then I'd get hit.
outside.
Nuclear option.
Yeah. The nuclear.
I'm like, that's my SNES. He's like, you can't play. I'd be like, okay. And then I would get hit. Yeah. And then my brother would get yelled at. It's the world we live in.
Video games are dangerous. Yeah, as kids, with the older retro games, you often would have to get to the end to get the save, the password, finish the level period, right? And I think the neighbors probably would know what's going on, but a very common occurrence. They're like, you go outside or we gotta go, you gotta eat dinner. Like, no, I just have to kill myself. I gotta kill myself. Screaming, no, and then they unplug it, and then more screaming. It must have sounded like true insanity from the outside.
Did you
Yeah.
know did you guys
Try
do
to get
the
a password.
AV cable trick? Where you'd leave
Oh,
the
we
console running?
definitely,
Yeah, and
yes.
you pull
Oh
the
yeah.
AV cable.
I knew right away. We're like, fine, I'll do it. and then
just
you
turned off the
yank
TV,
that out.
or I just turned off the TV and like left everything
Dude.
running.
We used to, yeah, like so this reminds me of one of the tricks where I would like do that, but and even before sometimes you set the cartridge in front of the power LED because like that would be showing otherwise too. So you'd like be prepared for like it wasn't even because that would like you'd be able to tell. But if you already prepared something in front of it, they wouldn't even see it.
Yeah.
So you
Meanwhile,
fine.
the NES is pulling the wattage out of that outlet like a refrigerator.
Those were the days.
It's better than getting a phone bill that you were like doing long distance or something.
Yeah.
Oh
true.
Lord, I remember that.
I swear
We
it
had
was
to,
Nintendo Power. I swear.
That'll cost you more.
It reminds me that back in the day, my sister would run up the phone bill.
Oh no.
So my mom ended up buying essentially a payphone to be our home phone. So you had to put money in it if you wanted to make a phone call.
That's
Because
awesome.
that's how much money she was
Brilliant.
spending on the
Brilliant.
phone.
I love
Yeah.
that.
That's
Honestly,
brilliant.
it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. It's like, okay, we got a payphone in our house, you know?
That's 5-head.
Did you call collect from it? Because we did that a lot when I was a kid.
I think my sister did. Yeah. I think that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
I would get calls from friends that were like out and about, and they'd call me collect. They're like, "Hey, John, we're outside. Come play." You have a collect call from. Yeah,
It's really fast.
We had a
yeah.
baby. It's a boy.
That's
yeah, we had a baby boy. People that didn't grow up in the 90s have no idea what you just said.
No.
But anybody else is like, "Yep, that commercial with in the hospital."
I wouldn't even know how to call collect anymore. Yeah, it's no idea.
I bet you it's still.
I guess
exists,
operator,
probably.
if there is one. I guess that's how you do it. Yeah.
Was
But I wouldn't know
800
anybody's number.
I mean,
'Cause that was
people
another
still
thing.
are
You
in
used to know
prison,
people's
so they must
numbers.
be calling collect.
Yeah,
right?
you had to know people's number.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
have
still
coins
remember.
on you and you gotta have their number.
Do you guys still remember like your first house phone number? Like
No.
the last 7
Yep.
digits even? No, I do.
I remember the address too.
639-8517. You don't know the area code, so I don't know who you're calling if you do.
Oh, man, what is the area code?
I'm like, I don't want to play. Somebody's
What
gonna call
was your
that poor person.
child home address? Yeah, what was your
What was your
That
child's
I
social
did forget. I
security
just
number?
forgot.
Yeah. Well, do you guys remember the like your
Nice.
whatever your porn name? It would be the name of your first pet and
Oh,
the
yeah.
street you grew up on.
all of those things are
Yes.
so just trying to get your personal information.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you realize now that's what that was all about.
Oh, I was about to give you my answer. I won't now.
Yeah, like one of those is like an old password of like what was your first street you lived on as a child? So hacker out there like, yep, got it.
Watts, you've been playing PalWORLD. How's that been going?
I have played a little bit. Yeah, I know that TV was probably the most into playing it because he was playing through early access because he got a code, but it did officially come out last week. Still early access, but he was in like the content creator early access.
Right.
Yeah, I'm confused, but is it just sort of permanently early access right now with no release date?
It doesn't currently have a release date. They have a
Right,
roadmap
okay.
that they put out. So I
Okay.
assume they want to get like a bit more content in it and have it more fleshed out, fix some bugs and stuff before they go into, 1.0 release.
Got it.
So yeah, it's currently $27 on Steam, or it's also on Game Pass for Xbox and for PC if you want to do it that way. So pretty cheap. No microtransactions, no battle pass, none of that. Just a video game.
What's y'all's opinion on it at this point?
So I'm at about 10, 11 hours in. It's definitely more on the casual side of survival game. Like some survival games demand a lot of you before you get the cool stuff, before you can really build anything, before you're doing a lot of things. In PalWORLD, it takes a little bit to get to the guns, interestingly, even though it's like Pokemon with guns. You have a bow really early on, but to get the actual like machine guns, it's going to take you a little bit to get there. But yeah, it's a really easy game to get into. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of people being super into it, even if they don't like survival games, because they're getting in and you can capture your pals right away. And then you're kind of working together to create your base and you're leveling up pretty quickly. So you get into the action very quickly. So yeah, I totally understand why people are super into it. For me, it's more of a game of like, if I'm chilling and I don't want to give my whole attention to something, I'll load up PalWORLD because I can kind of
Oh.
just like run around and craft stuff, and I can collect things and get more pals and level up. There are boss fights where you do want to pay more attention and like dungeons and stuff. But for everything else, I'm kind of just like, I'm chilling. I'm going to chill and hop on some PalWORLD and like make some stuff.
Does it play
So,
well
Yeah,
on
what can you-
Steam Deck?
and stuff? Oh,
I haven't loaded it up on Steam Deck yet. I know it does work on Steam Deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say,
that's a
what
good
can
news.
you build in PalWORLD? I haven't been following it too closely just because like I just don't have the time. I'd love to check it out for the sake of the conversation, but in other words, I was curious, does it compare with like Valheims and Minecrafts of the world where like people are just building and that, or is it more on the catching your pals?
So you can build, and obviously you start with wood and then you can go to stone. So you have like all the usual walls, foundations, stairs, doors. You can build that stuff. You've got things that you can make to keep your pals happy because while they're working, you want to make sure they're not stressed. So you can get like hot springs and stuff to make them relax. You can build all of your usual workbench stuff so that you can produce things. You've got some decorations and stuff. So you can build and you can make it complicated, but it doesn't have something like Minecraft, where Minecraft is like really just wide open to make whatever the hell you want. And actually, speaking of more survival games, Enshrouded came out today, and that is a lot more deep in terms of what exactly you can do to build. Because in Enshrouded, you can actually change the terrain of the area. You can dig like you can in Minecraft. So you can make an underground cave bunker home. Whereas in PalWORLD, it's a lot more kind of casual with building.
Okay.
But I know a lot of people are like, power is just where you abuse animals to work for you. And it's like, actually, you can go the total opposite way of like,
Take care of them.
But I'm not
you
gonna.
can. I mean, you can go either way, right? You can be more abusive and go the whole enslavement route, or you could be like, I'm here with my animal buds and we're kind of making this life together and this base really nice for all of us. So you can do both. You don't have to be like an abusive person to play PalWORLD. You can enslave people though if you want to.
You
They
can.
deserve it, it sounds
You
like.
can, yeah.
Oh, man.
And you can sell them on the black market.
oh, jeez.
So
Really?
I'm not gonna
Wait,
do
you're-
that just because like I'm really into human slavery.
No.
But
And
I didn't even go
you're
as
one of
far
these
as to say
humans in the
I'm
game?
against it.
yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Kind of
Yes.
feels like you saying like, yeah, you can be nice in Grand Theft Auto too. It's like, well,
Again.
can you though?
Honestly,
That's
so
good.
I
Really what
gotta
we came
say,
here for.
it was
Good
You don't
comparison.
have
super.
to do coke at Studio 54, but
Why
It
wouldn't
was
you?
super wholesome to like. I was listening to a soundtrack, which I know Fran heard, because they don't really have a lot of background music when you're just like crafting and exploring and stuff. They do when you get into combat. So I was listening to a playlist and I was like, this is actually really wholesome to be like running around with my pal and we're just exploring the open world, and that was kind of wholesome.
Like
Did-
singular pal?
What pal?
You said you're running around with your pal. Is there just like one that you run around with, kind of like the Pokemon Yellow?
Oh yeah. So the way that it works is you can have a party of 5 options of pals. There are some, like there's one called Daydream, where if you build her necklace, she'll be out all the time. So then you could have 2 pals out, or if you have a whole team of Daydreams, you can have 5 pals out at once. But generally, you're gonna have 1 pal out at once, and you're gonna go between all of the different pals. Yeah, so you're kind of running around with 5 different ones.
this game's been selling like incredibly well.
It's at 8 million.
8 million.
Right.
Lightning in a
How
bottle
many
right now.
days?
Yeah, I was gonna
6
say not even
days.
week. Yeah.
6 days.
Absolute madness.
Yeah, I mean, it is effectively the biggest game in the world in terms of, right, people
Bro.
buying it,
Yeah.
playing it, talking about it. If you bottle all that up, meaning I don't know what the concurrents are for Fortnite across every platform, for example. And I think 2 million was the number that it crossed. But as like a brand new thing, like I don't think anything is as big as PalWORLD. And again, bottled up with everything else, the conversation, the trend. It's actually why I asked what I asked, Watts. I was curious with what time you've spent with it. Like,
Yeah.
when you look at a game like Minecraft, which had obviously, it's sort of like the do anything, build anything, and it was very open and could evolve. Like, does PalWorld, you think, have that kind of potential to be around in all year, next year, 5 years?
So it depends how quickly they kind of work on the roadmap that they put out. So they did put out a roadmap of what they're planning for their early access. And they've got things like PvP, like an arena. So, Pokemon, when you go in an arena and you battle with your Pokemon, like kind of something like that. They're also working on like raids to actually like raid bosses. So that's going to be more end game content stuff. They're working on crossplay. Of course, like a bunch of different features, the availability to transfer your character to different servers, which you can't do right now, adding more stuff to build. So they do have a plan, 6 days into this game being out, to build out the game and make it bigger. So
Does their plan involve a lot of lawyers?
I don't, from everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like they really have, like, they wouldn't be able to just win in court based on what we've seen. It seems like they would have to prove that they have actually taken copywritten stuff from Pokemon and put it in PalWorld.
Yeah.
I mean, some of I haven't looked at it closely, but some of the stuff, and I've seen some folks comparing them. It is, I don't know where that draw that line. It's like, well, that's clearly inspired by these Pokemon. But it's not that Pokemon, but therein lies, like, what is the difference between being inspired by Mario, and using Mario? Like, I think it's more in that side, because I've heard very much that it's not like the gameplay mechanics and design is like a copy. And like, there's plenty of games that are like Mario.
This isn't Mario.
It doesn't matter.
This guy's Greek.
Yeah, it's more like, so I think it's more on that side. That would be the only place, and even that I do not know, but it's like,
yeah,
well,
I think you have to prove it's like a copy.
Yeah, but that's where I asked the question again in a very distant. I haven't even really given it much time of day, because I'm like, I don't know, man. Which is funny. Biggest game in the world. I'm like, I'm playing Armored Core right now. I don't got time for this.
Nice.
I'm just trying to stay focused on keeping up my 2023 list. But I wonder, when you pile all things together, like, what happens when you take 100 things and you're like, aren't all of these inspired by these characters? And if so, what does that mean? And I don't know if it means anything.
I mean, some of them look like spot on, right?
Like in other words,
that animal looks like a cat.
Yeah,
Pokemon
like
has cats.
To bring it home, what I'm saying is, like, I don't know what it means if you make a game that is, let's say it's a semi-survival platformer game with 2 plumbers. They look kind of like Mario. You got a princess and you got this dragon dude. And again, like, I don't know. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. But they're just similar. They're not the same.
I think that's the thing. For winning copyright, you have to prove that you like took stuff from Pokemon.
So the thing I heard that may be kind of the thing about this is that I think it was Skill Up was saying that what he had heard is that they had one dude that created like all the animals in this, and some people were saying that he used AI to generate all the animals, which may
we know that's not true.
We know it's not true.
That's old news. That's old controversy about power.
So it's not true.
So
fact check.
Yeah. So the whole AI thing was, the TLDR was that the CEO is pretty interested in AI in terms of just the technology of AI.
Yeah.
There has been zero evidence that they have used AI, generative AI, in the production of PalWorld, and they actually did use AI for one of their other games, which was called like AI Imposter. It's basically like it's like an imposter game where you're trying to figure out who used AI for the drawing and who didn't, kind of thing. But they were like very open about that. So people are like, if they're being very open about their interest in AI and they've made a game with AI, why are they all of a sudden hiding it and we can't find any evidence that they used it for PalWorld?
Okay.
So that was the old controversy. And now there's a new one, which happened on Twitter, of that the meshes for some of the characters, some of the pals, are the same as Pokemon. However, the person who wrote that thread on Twitter said that they intentionally scaled the meshes to fit into Pokemon meshes to make it look more similar than it is, because they don't like that they are promoting animal cruelty. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and that's great. That's where you really got to fact check all the time when you're talking news. Like, don't believe the threads you read without knowing the act. I always ask, like, people present me that news, and I'm like, well, what's the source? And they're like, oh, I saw it on Reddit. No, I'm like, what's the source? They're like, oh, Kotaku posted. I'm like, but what's the source? And they're like, oh, I don't know. It was some dude on Reddit. I'm like, that's not a source. And so anyway, when you say like the meshes are similar too, it's like, even think of that, like maybe they are, but like, are you implying that this person went into Nintendo servers and or pulled code from the games? I don't know if you can get a mesh out of the games and then use them. Like that's an accusation versus is there any proof of that they did anything like that?
So, and the way that I think about a lot of this AI stuff, because there was an artist recently who I follow who was accused of using AI for her art, and she had to jump through hoops to prove that it was not AI. And my thing is, like, we're all trying not to be assholes, but let's not try so hard to not be assholes that we end up being assholes to creative people. Because if you look at this game without thinking about like copyright, AI, like all of this stuff, this is an amazing success story of this very small indie team that has absolutely blown up to have the biggest game in the world, which is an incredible story.
It definitely looks like Pokemon.
I mean, yeah,
it's actually an Ark survival copy more than anything.
But that's like the gameplay, and again, that's where the conversation lies. I think there's plenty of validity to asking, but being a-hole about accusing is very different, and like
it is.
I do think it is very fair to say though that I haven't watched much of it, but it is very influenced by Nintendo's work. It's called PalWORLD. You capture pals and like whatever. I mean, obviously. And then like many of the designs, like you're saying, even if it wasn't intentional, maybe these meshes look so close because they were out there making characters based on what they were looking at off to the side, which plagiarism is different, than copyright. And again, I don't know the laws around it. And I'm not saying they did because I have barely looked at it, but like, I think there's a fair conversation to be had there, which is why it's gotten to the point that people have been like negatively hounding the developers. I believe I heard, I'd have to fact check it, that they were receiving even like death threats online and like
that's what they've said. Yeah,
absurd. And so Nintendo's also been being hounded in terms of what are you going to do about it? And I think they finally responded. They didn't
respond,
name. Yeah, we should maybe pull up the quote, but they didn't respond and name it. They just sort of responded.
We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemons. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon's in its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemons in the future.
Yeah. So again, they don't say.
That sounds like a shut up. We know.
Yeah, exactly. You think Nintendo didn't know, but it's like, I think I brought those two things up back to back because I would think they've heard about it. They're probably like, geez, like our community's misbehaving. Like we're on top of this. We have a whole team of people that anytime you sneeze, Pokeball, they're on top of it. But
and we know they are because a Pokemon mod was made for PalWORLD, and they struck it down immediately. Immediately.
Exactly.
Gone out of there. So
sorry, that wasn't Nintendo. That was the Pokemon company.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah, but they're heavily invested. I forget if they're mostly
somehow involved.
Are they the majority owner of? I always forget that actually.
It's an incestuous relationship. I try not to look closely.
Yeah. I'm gonna double check. I think
this game. PalWORLD got a lot of excitement around it when it was first announced because they're like, oh my God, it's Pokemon with guns. And that was in like, what, 2019 or 2020? It was a long time ago. So I think if Nintendo knows all and the Pokemon company knows all, I think they would have probably acted at that point. Yeah. And like one of the lawyers has said, this just looks like one of the many copies we see all the time, and I'm surprised it's gone this far. Like that's all they've said.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
all
there
the
are a
companies.
ton of, like
I have
Pokemon
two
likes.
things.
Yes.
One, if it would be incredibly weird to me if something were to come of this from Nintendo, because like the whole start of Nintendo, for those who don't know, is like when they had that fight with, was it Universal about Donkey Kong, the trademark?
Mm.
Nintendo has been the most litigious video game company of the
Right,
last 30 years.
but I'm saying this specifically, I feel like going after somebody for like character infringement and stuff like that, because I think it was Universal. But anyway, so King Kong was out, and when Nintendo came out with Donkey Kong, Universal was like, nope, this is King Kong. You can't do that. And they're like, well, this is a monkey or an ape, and his name is Donkey Kong. It's not the same. It's like you can't
He's
copyright.
Greek.
But at the same time, like if anything does come from this, like I can only imagine the precedent that it sets moving forward,
Yeah.
and like
True.
just the things that you can claim copyright infringement on in video games and stuff, and things that are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'd be scary, but like I'm not saying I don't want to protect the rights of Nintendo Pokemon. I'm just saying like it's a wider conversation, and it's kind of
For sure. Yeah, that's why winning copyright in court is so difficult, because you do have to prove like this was ripped from my game. Like this
Right.
is Ash Ketchum, literally the same character.
Yeah.
Because I think of all the games I love to play, which are Souls likes, and they use the same text. They use the same colors for
Yeah.
stuff. They use
Yeah.
the same names for
Like
all of
exactly
the
the same,
stats.
right?
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But-
So yeah, that would be
Yeah, but
scary.
and that's why you have patents though, and there are gameplay systems and things that are patented, and I'd have to
Yeah.
go dive back in, but in the same way that you create a controller, it's not only like the design of the controller, sometimes it's very specific, like
It
the
is,
D-pad,
yeah.
right? Which was, I believe, the contentious thing for many years. Like, you couldn't use it elsewhere and so on. So, but anyway, I got obsessed with the question about, that's right, Nintendo. It's not like they own even a half majority. It's thirds. Game Freak, Creatures, and Nintendo, and that's like roughly putting it. I was just checking Game Informer off to the side, and it's a little complicated in terms of like when something's happening, where most of the rights go. But roughly, it's split into thirds between Game Freak, Creatures, and Nintendo. Nintendo used to be the seller distributor, according to Game Informer. Creatures was the producer, and Game Freak, was the developer, I believe.
I've not even heard of
so
Creatures before.
Yeah.
I
They're
haven't
all
even
in
heard
the
of Freak.
thing together. So they're all banking is the point. So trust me, they're all on top of it is the message.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
think.
They're all Zoom calling
You
each
think-
other during all of this.
Right. Yeah. And like, exactly, there's somebody who's got a team of people. Do you think they have not been dealing with like 10 cases over the past year, even that are similar? Like, it's constant for them. And this one's obviously a big one for them to look at. But who's to say? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Interesting nonetheless to watch.
Stop harassing them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't do
Yeah,
that.
so
What the
don't
fuck?
stop
figure it out.
harassing people.
Get a
Yeah,
hold of
that's a good idea.
yourself. You're an adult, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, you're an adult. Secondly, this is like gaming, the whole spirit of gaming, especially wholesome, like Nintendo, produced games, etc. It's not the spirit of it at all. You should be ashamed of yourself if you're any
Yeah.
of these people.
Yeah.
There's
making
all
it
those
Certainly ashamed
memes.
of you.
There's all those memes. Like, I'm not subscribing to this, but just seeing the memes of like the people with their swords and shields, like, leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone, the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I
silly.
do think it's at least worth noting the best part of it for me, and again, as someone who's not even played or what, I'm like, thank God somebody is really pressuring Nintendo now to stop resting on their laurels every time. I'm not saying the Pokemon games aren't good because I don't play them, but I know enough about following them for many, many years. Like, they're always like, right? It's like any Nintendo product, right? It's running at 27 frames a second. The tech
Yeah.
seems like from 2009 still, and so on and so on. You're always like, man, when is the big swing coming? And you just see, like, I think there's a combination of things probably going on with PalWORLD, like, because it, as Watts pointed out, it's like, it's not like it's a Pokemon game, really. There's a lot of survival stuff going on, but you can see that this is what a lot of the fans want, or this conversation wouldn't be happening, and that's a really good thing. Where's our Breath of the Wild of Pokemon,
Yeah. I mean, we went through this conversation with Genshin too, right? Where it was like, this
Yeah.
enemy is literally the same thing as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, dude, I can't watch like a glider flying over green hills populated with some trees, right? It's very difficult to
Yeah.
look at that and not be like, oh yeah, that's like Breath of the Wild. But it's not
not
like they were the
Zelda,
first person
it's
to use a
Zelda.
glider.
Exactly.
It's a lot, as I once mistyped it. Zelda. I mean, yeah, it is to be fair. They didn't do themselves any favor naming it like Palman. It's pretty. Actually, I guess not. They're not. There's something about the name PalWorld with the P in it. I don't know why, but I just feel like they didn't do themselves any favors on that one. But hey,
I don't know.
they did because they sold a boatload of copies.
Dude,
So.
it is crazy how much was sold.
Did
like
you say 8 million? Is that right?
8 million.
That
Yep,
is
as
a
of
lot of copies. How much does it cost per copy?
27.
That's amazing. Plus, does that include what
I'll do the
they've
math.
downloaded? People have downloaded off Game Pass? Or is that just
No,
sales?
that's
Wow.
just sales.
Dang.
$216 million in gross.
Wow.
In raw, yeah.
And apparently the game was like 6 million to make, I think they said.
Well, good on them.
Yeah, I wonder if it had a
Yeah.
marketing budget as part of that too. But I mean, either way, they could have spent, call it 7 million even, but it still has made a ton of money. That's what I wonder on the back end of all this, of like what investors have been comfortable like infusing tons of cash, helping them their roadmap for the next year, et cetera, or if it's a bit hands off while they figure out if anybody's trying to take action or biggest game in the world right now for sure.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. It's crazy.
Fran, how's Armored Core 6 going?
Yeah, quick update in the world of me playing games that you'd think you would have played last year, and I've been trying to keep up with everything. But to be fair, doing Cyberpunk and Starfield, hundreds of hours of playthroughs on those, that sank a lot of time. But yeah, as a reminder, I most recently finished Alan Wake 2. Actually, I don't think I reported that. I finally finished it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So worth
Are you ever
saying,
really finished with a game, though?
No, definitely not. Not if it's got a new game plus or you wanted to go back and take care of
It's
something. So
such a story-driven game too. Like, how do they keep you playing in that game? It's interesting.
yeah, it's Alan Wake 2, just to cap it off. I now realize how much of that game is such a head case game. Like it really is so heavily true detective storytelling based game. And I kept hoping there'd be more and more action and more like build out my guns because there's perks. And I did want to note that for those that were listening. Like, I mean, if you like games that blend that together, but are big in story, just man, it ends with like, I swear it was an hour of like looking at facts and hearing from people. And you'd be surprised, I guess, that it's not as much of the combat. And so that was one thing that maybe, I guess, like unlike Control, I liked Control so much because the action was just awesome. The fights were always so awesome. And Alan Wake has that potential, but it's certainly not that type of game. And that was a bit unexpected. But just absolutely one of the best games of last year, though. But man, it's a heady game for sure. But moving on to the new thing, I realized that I searched long and hard over the mini games that I got to play still. Yeah, Super Mario Wonder, Baldur's Gate 3, and so on. The list is very big. But Armored Core 6, I'd played when it came out. I knew I liked it. And there's a bazillion stats on your mech. And it's a FromSoft game with very tough, very awesome bosses. And I just was like, I'll do this later. So yeah, same thing, man. It makes my head hurt like playing these games, but I would say that's why you love Armored Core, I think, if you do want to play this game. It is a lot of stats, tons of parts for your mech, and very arcadey, right? Like replaying levels to get money and buy everything and try to figure out like your builds. It is very, very much that. If you're looking just for kind of like a casual robot mech playthrough, as you probably could expect with a FromSoft game, you should not ever be like, I'll just kind of waltz through. And it's so many stats and details, but I really love it. I've beat the first chapter, first main boss. He's one of those FromSoft type bosses where, like any of their games, you get stuck on until you learn. They are so consistent with the like. It's amazing to me. You get to the and you're like, geez, that is just like so punishing. But then you realize how stupid you really are. And that's sort of
Right,
what
yeah.
you go through.
It's that feeling of no way. This is impossible. Jesus Christ. And then you're like, oh no, like I'm learning. And then you beat it. And I think that's a big reason why I continue to like those games, because they continue to offer you that feeling that you get in a lot of first time playing games of feeling really good about overcoming something or
Yeah.
finding something out. And those games give it to you forever.
Yeah, they really
You always
do
kind of get that
nail
adrenaline
that.
rush, like, yeah, you get that forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to ask, Wes. You had played some, but I think you decided it wasn't quite your style of FromSoft games. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it. I don't care about mechs at all. It's kind of like
the style.
my interest in just mechs in general is just very, very, very low. So I enjoyed the combat a lot, but I wasn't really into tinkering with stuff nearly as much as I think you kind of maybe need to be.
You really do.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I know it's a great game. And I did enjoy my time with it, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a Souls combat than a Armored Core combat.
Yeah, it's a really good distinction to draw for those one where they're like, well, I'm familiar with FromSoft games and I love them. And it's like you kind of get with a stat setup and a build setup, right? Like a lot of stamina with some magic, but you kind of stick with that and refine it usually most of the time, and you get better and better, and you kind of find stuff that meets that build. Where, far as I can tell, I mean, most certainly off the bat, it is so heavily like it's all about a bunch of parts, and trying to figure out what they do, and then going through like a list of like 30 stats and being like, what is like AC load, what is EN load, what is all of these stats that just don't like off the top
cryptic? Like you gotta like
it
start
is,
watching
but they
YouTube
do have
videos to figure it out.
well, they have contextual help like they added with Elden Ring, where you can pull up it's like a the cursor, and as you hover over, it's got a little tooltip that kind of gives you a sense of what it is.
Okay.
But man, it literally is like, again, from what I can tell, in theory, you could play it any way you want. So just to bring this home, it's like you could get all the parts and decide, I want to be a big hulking tank with 2 giant lasers on my back and this missile thing, and like I'm really slow. But what you're going to do is you're going to run into something that is way faster than you. It's all over the place. You're just getting hammered. And you could kind of take your parts on and off and adapt to that, just a few parts, in other words, and stick with your build. But from what I think the game is trying to get you to do is try a completely different build. It's like, yo, you want to be a lot faster, take the tank piece off. These legs jump really high, yada, yada. And to like kind of have a few different builds that you go with depending on the scenario. In the long run, I don't know. But man, because of that, you got to learn a lot.
That is essentially like the Armored Core experiences. It's you're getting prepared for each battle and really tinkering with every little detail to make the mech that's going to give you the biggest advantage over whatever you're fighting. And all of them do definitely want you to do different things. And like Fran said, like you can totally be like, I want to be a zippy boy the whole way, and you can do it. It just means it's going to be harder because you don't have the mech that's specifically made to counter what you're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like any FromSoft game where, I mean, you can dodge everything in quote unquote, meaning you can figure out and play something long enough that you can be a naked person fighting a giant beast, and like people do that, but it will be a lot harder to figure that out. So, but it is an amazing game. And what I will say that resonates is I finally got past the first boss. The first boss was completely dope. It's just a ball of missiles flying around. It's a dude in a mech with these like rotating, like, think of like a sphere thing in Vegas that's like for a show. It is rotating. It's all missiles, and it's such a cool looking fight. And you get done with that, and then I got to chapter 2 and I was like, well, let me just play the first level. And you immediately get to like another boss, and apparently the community calls it like the Death Roomba. And like it strikes me like how good their like design and boss designs. And like that is one of the main reasons I play their games. I realize like when you get to these mini bosses, they are so thoughtful and so cool, and the fight is so fun, you get addicted to, right? You're like, oh, I gotta destroy this thing in my way. And honestly, very few people do it this well. Like, I hate to say it, but it always makes me think of Destiny, where there are amazing raid bosses and stuff like that. But as we always ask, it's like, yeah, why don't we get more variety and more cleverness in bosses? And well, apparently it's hard to do, which is why, FromSoft is one of the masters of it. So
If it ain't
anyway,
broke.
yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Are you
amazing. I'm
gonna-
going to finish it.
You're gonna finish it?
It's going to take me a while, though.
Yeah.
Diablo Season
Like
3 also came out
Sekiro
notably, by
long,
the way.
or
I played Sekiro through New Game Plus, and yeah, hundreds of hours in that. I honestly don't know. I spent so much time replaying the same levels, making money, and finally beating the boss once I said, I'm gonna do it. Like, I play it kind of like I don't know, everybody plays differently, but meaning I had to have every part before I faced the boss. And I did it my way. And then I felt very good. Yeah, so then I was at the boss with any build that I wanted to make, I could if I needed to. As I came to find out, I didn't. I pretty much knew, but anyway, I don't know. I don't even know how many chapters it is, but I'm probably gonna put in over 100 hours because it is
available on
highly
PC
detailed.
and PlayStation. Is that it?
That's a great question. It's not on Xbox yet.
I think
thought
it's
it
on
was.
Xbox, right?
Yeah, I think
Xbox
it's on
still?
all the main
Okay.
I don't think it
platforms.
was an exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's a PC store exclusive. I'm not sure if it's Steam only or something, but I don't know. Either way, play it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta pick it up.
And I don't want to go on all night, but Diablo 4 Season 3 season.
We
of
should. I mean, we
Construct's
should
out.
talk about that. There's a new season. Like,
you
just
want.
came out.
Or we can circle back to it. Up to you guys.
I want to hear.
All right. Diablo 4 Season 3 Season of the Construct is out, and the short of it is, it's much like their other seasons. It's not like you're getting huge new revamps of things. It's a little bit the Destiny model. It's like a $10 cosmetic pass. They add in a new storyline. And then what Diablo usually does is they add in something that you're kind of building a little differently. Like the first season, your gems, you plugged in these new things called Malignant Hearts, and they gave you new powers. And Season 2 was a little mini, they're called Paragon boards, but it was almost like a miniature version of that where you got vampiric powers. It was like a vampiric circle of power. That was Season 2. And you would plug in essentially buffs and things to, do new things. Season 3 is, and it's actually kind of neat, you get a construct, a pal, if you will. And he's this little robot that'll follow you around as a pet, so to speak, a companion you're gonna be able to plug in these different buffs and stuff. So make it shoot lightning, or no, I want it to help do these various things. So it's the same concept you can see, and that's generally the gameplay stuff that's newer. A lot of it is replaying what was already in there, but they did add what's called vaults, which is kind of like, there's a handful of, basically they're kind of like dungeons. They're calling them vaults. They got traps and things like that. So
I've heard about the traps. I've heard a lot about the traps.
I haven't played enough to know. People are apparently, what, are they mad about the traps, Watts?
Yes, they think it doesn't really make the gameplay very fun.
Yeah, it may not. It's like you're either getting frozen or pushed back by a fireball or whatever. But it's so early for me, I couldn't comment on it, because maybe that's where you gain power, right? And later you're like, oh, that doesn't bother me. I don't know. But again, it's free. It's notable, actually, walk it back. It's free content, remember. You don't have to buy the cosmetic pass. So if you own Diablo 4, you can play every season. You get all of this stuff that I just mentioned, except for the cosmetic pass. So I believe the seasonal content, all of it's free. It's kind of crazy to say out loud. That is very unlike Destiny. And in a way, I mean, that's why it's a bit smaller in that sense. So, but it's okay. What Diablo 4 needs more than anything, and what I think most of the community would say, is it's going to need a big expansion, and we know they're working on them, but it's going to need a new class, a big new campaign chunk, and they do need to address some bigger things. On my side, and I've been hearing it more and more, people just are tired of, with the seasons, you got to start over at 0 with your character.
Right.
So you got to level back up to, there's 4 world tiers, and I've been saying since day one, I'm like, I already did this. just skip me to level 70, and then I can focus on the builds, chasing unique exotics, if you will, and like. But I never do that in a season because I'm burnt out every time by the time I get there, and that's stuff like that they really got to address.
Yeah, that sounds like a huge problem.
Yeah, but more content, just like Destiny, you're gonna need to add raids and dungeons and more matchmaking abilities, and it needs all of that in the same way that any game would.
Yeah,
but it's all right. It's free.
There you go.
There's some Destiny news this week, right?
Was there?
Yes, I was wishing that there was.
Yeah, so Riven's Wishes, right? Have you guys seen this? Is this news? I'll read it.
It
Get
is.
it now.
It is news.
This is coming from Bungie. We all have things we'd wish for given the chance. While Guardians, Riven has made arguments with Marasov to ensure you're rewarded for your efforts in fulfilling her final request. She left a series of challenges that will each reward you with heroic deeds. So starting on January 30th, players can visit Marasov to accept a weekly quest with a high-risk objective in the Dreaming City, such as completing Legend Lost sectors or dungeons. Upon completion of these weekly objectives, players can return to Marasov to receive a wish token. Each week, you can use this token to choose a prize from one of the 3 different categories. So this is kind of cool. Category 1 is choose a red border last wish raid weapon.
Yep.
Category 2 is choose a piece of Lightfall Year exotic armor. And category 3 is choose from a variety of rewards listed below. And there's like a lost memento.
Briar, did you freeze? Everybody?
He did
Can
freeze.
you repeat that
yes.
part?
Yeah.
The exotic
which part?
one?
The second part?
Sorry, category 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Category 2, choose a piece of Lightfall Year exotic armor. Category 3 was choose from a variety of rewards listed below, and it's like Lost Memento, Dawning Memento, Ascendant Shard, Ascendant Alloy, and Exotic Cipher.
You can get
Nah.
more of the jet black mementos. That's cool.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, that's definitely good
have
because that wasn't
mementos.
around for very long.
Mm-hmm.
And people
But you have to
weren't
use a
happy about
memento
that.
on a crafted weapon, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Does it have to be a certain level? I think
No.
it does. No?
Actually, yes, it does. It does have to be. I think it's level 30. Is it 30? I think it's 30.
I don't remember, but I'm sitting on my mementos. I just thought it was worth it. I'm like, awesome, this is cool. I love cosmetics.
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't want to use them because then you can't use them again.
That's
Like-
yeah. Well, I like in
It's
a
like
way.
when
I
you don't
like
use
that
them.
to keep that. I like that it exists. I think it's really cool to be able to earn and apply to something you really love. And if,
Mhm.
but I don't have that because I don't
Right.
like leveling up guns like that and craft.
Same.
So I don't have the ability to use it unless I really put the work in, which is a little different for me.
There's a few guns that I could use it on, but it doesn't look very good on those few guns. So it's like, well,
so yeah, you got to
I don't wanna
grind
waste
just
it
to
on
use
this
it.
gun if it doesn't look good.
Yeah. But back to Riven's wishes. I mean, what do you think of the idea of like, go to a Legend Lost sector, or a dungeon challenge? I don't know if they've said more beyond that, and then being able to get red border stuff from Last Wish or exotic Lightfall stuff.
I think it's
Or
good
some of these
timing for
materials.
this kind of a quest to show up, right? It's like
Sure.
a little something extra to do. Was it weekly, did they say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Like one more thing to add to your to-do list for the week, and you can get some pretty cool stuff. Like if you red border weapon from Last Swiss Raid, that's kind of neat.
If you can pick which one it is, it's not like random. That'd be nice.
I'll bet
It
you
says
it's
choose.
random.
It says choose.
It
It
says
says
choose.
which
It does.
category, but does it say choose what you get from each category?
It says choose
Underneath-
a red border last wish raid
Yeah,
weapon. So I
that's
would
a great
presume,
point.
Oh,
but
okay.
just like just my trepidation about it.
Yeah.
Like maybe it won't be. Maybe it's the person who wrote this didn't fully understand the mechanic. I don't know. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, maybe they've clarified. It is a good point because they write it in a way that it just says choose from one from 3 different categories, but we don't know that it only offers you up maybe a certain amount of things, or can you literally choose from everything? I don't know.
It does. Jay's right. It says choose a piece of Lightfall Year exotic armor, but it doesn't. Does it say like you get to choose that you get one of these,
I-
or you get to choose which one of these you get.
So because of, unless somebody can link us to maybe if they've clarified this, because of the way category 3 is, I would actually think you could choose from everything. Because category 3, like, right, Ascendant Alloy, you could have 2, or you could get a Dawning Memento. It's like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to be presented with only a few of those options. You would need to have all the options. So
Yeah. It would
let's
be
hope
nice
it's
if you
every
get to
option.
choose exactly what you get.
Yeah.
I like this with the Fireteam Finder out there, assuming you could hopefully get into some of these challenges aligned with Fireteam Finder. Like the idea of like, well, Legend Lost Sectors you got to do on your own, right? But right? Yeah.
Well,
There
if you
are
want
only
a
so many.
chance for an exotic potentially.
Well, but
maybe
what
you don't
about
have-
in this case, you think?
I don't. It doesn't say. I would presume that you don't have to if you want to go for this, but I imagine if
Yeah.
you want to double dip and you want a chance at exotic and
Mm.
these rewards, then it would be smart to do it solo.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I would guess. I know that people are, of course, there's going to be some people that are upset at like you can get raid weapons without doing the raid, but I think we're probably at the period in time with Destiny where I reached with trials as well, where it's like we just want people to play the game and be rewarded. We
Mhm.
don't need to. There was a period back in the day where it was like having a bunch of prestigious stuff, which I still think they need, but having some prestigious things that we can get, but offering more to just your average kind of player to give them more things to interact
Sure.
with that they haven't been able to before.
This stuff is pretty
So-
old too from the last Wish, right? How
It's
many
like
years ago
6
was
years
that?
old.
Yeah.
already?
Yeah, I mean the
But the
red
red
border
borders
stuff
are
for
new.
Last Wish is not that old, but the actual normal gear is.
Yeah, because there's new like perk combos and all that that is what they added with
that was within the
relaunching
last year, wasn't it?
the Last Wish. Yeah, like that's what people been running the Last Wish for.
Right, exactly.
I was yeah, I don't know, Jay, if you know more about that than I do, but I haven't had a chance to. But I think people were quite excited for a while to get these red borders.
Yeah,
I was wondering if they were going to be mad
some
that
of them
they
are really good.
one of those like, oh, I had to put in all this work and now you're just giving it away.
It's well, I
Oh,
mean,
I'm
like
sure there's
there
some-
people are going to complain about anything, but in my opinion, it's however many. It's at least 6 months removed from when they put these in the game. So it's one of those things like if you're going to get mad at a video game going on sale because you had to spend $60 on it, it's the same kind of
Mm.
person who's going to get mad at this.
Right.
Like I had to pay with my time and now you don't have to, kind of thing.
But yeah,
Saw a
interesting.
copy of Destiny 2 at GameStop for $2. I paid 60. I'm
Mm.
pissed.
I think the list of rewards is great because yeah, I'm looking through all this stuff and I was like, I totally when I'm caught with the like Jay, you commented a little bit where you logged in and weren't sure what you wanted to do.
I haven't even finished the story either.
Yeah, you weren't really compelled, but like if you arrived and you wanted to play some Destiny and weren't sure what to do, like I do like what's going on here of like, oh, do this challenge, get a token, and I can target something I really want. It gives you something really to chew on and chase.
Sure.
Not again, it's like I have a bazillion catalysts and stuff, but like I got to look them up, and I don't know. I'm not as compelled, but I guess seeing the list in front of me, I'm like, I don't have all of the hunter exotics.
My
I'm like-
need for a Destiny 2 assistant is just growing larger and larger. Like
Yeah.
some kind of app in front of me
Yeah,
that
get
gives me all the
kitty you're
efficiencies
hooked on Destiny.
and all the lists of like the step by step, like, you know, this is what you want. You want to do this. Okay, here's the most efficient path to do it, the things to pick up, all that stuff. Like still
That's
want
funny
that.
you say that. I've
We've
been saying
talked
they need
about
that
this
in the-
before. We're
Oh,
not going to
okay.
get into it
But
again.
still. But it's worth noting alongside this is we need more stuff like this that's actually in the game, like a little AI. I joked AI assistant or
Sure.
algorithmic.
like
I
a
mean-
ghost or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like my example was maybe we did talk about this exact thing, whether it
Yeah, we
was
did, yes.
outside of the podcast or whatever. But I joked that I wanted Clippy, Microsoft's
Yes.
like
No,
word
this is
assistant.
the exact conversation
Yeah.
we had like 3 months ago.
Maybe it's on the
months ago
show,
or
but I was
whatever.
like, oh, dude, like if Clippy's like, hey, we noticed you didn't have Triton Vice Hunter Exotic Slacks. You should get them. And I'm like, boom, check mark. And then it's like, here's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And it sets up your new like weekly challenges to do it. And then I'd be like, sweet, I got something to do without like Googling everything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Riven's wishes seem like a nice addition, but it's not like they're adding, a bunch of new gameplay content.
It'll be nice for people wanting to play catch up before the new stuff next season too.
Yeah.
less time invested.
Moments
really
of
need-
Triumphs are coming back on January 30th. Moments of Triumph return with a collection of 30 challenges. If you get to 26, you get a MMXXIII title. As
Right,
well
yeah,
as
Moments of
access to
Triumph.
purchase the MMXXIII pin. If you get 21, you get the Fire Guilt Quadriga. It's
Sure.
a sparrow. It looks cool. 14,
nice.
you get the Laurel Shell. Also looks kind of cool. And 5, you get access to purchase the 2023 Moments of Triumph t-shirt, which also doesn't look too bad if you ask me.
It's like this one I'm seeing is gray with like a dragon with golden wings and a tail,
Yeah,
grasping the shield of triumphs.
I like it.
We need to have a dragon like that in the game.
Yeah, we do.
Is
I was like,
our
well,
dragon
yeah.
not good enough for you? You want a
We
better
have
dragon?
Riven,
Riven,
like
but
that.
it's not the same. We need like a Puff the Magic Dragon
A
boss.
Puff. That does not look like Puff the Magic Dragon to me.
Or what? Pete's Dragon. You remember Pete's Dragon?
Wasn't
that
that Puff
run.
the Magic Dragon? Wasn't Pete's Dragon Puff?
Mm-mm.
That was a different
Pete's
different
Dragon
dragon,
is different.
but they were both kind of cartoony dragons.
Yes. Yeah. Pete's Dragon was more like not like, haha, I'm a dragon, fluffy dragon guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Puff was much more serious and deadly.
Man, he was smoking those Marlboros.
Well, it was the 60s.
Side tangent, the Halloween candy cigarettes are just called candy sticks now. Thought that was funny.
They're not
Candy
called candy
sticks.
cigarettes anymore. The ones
No.
that are like bubble
Are you-
gum and you can blow like powdered sugar.
No,
out
it's
of 'em?
just like the sugar sticks.
Oh.
Were they ever called? I
Yeah,
mean,
when I was a kid, it was
Yeah,
like
they used
they
to be
looked
called
like
candy
cigarette
cigarettes.
packs.
They came.
100%.
Yeah, they came.
but
in
they
a
looked
pack
like.
of-
But I was like, did they
You're like-
call them candy cigarettes?
Yes,
I don't know.
they definitely.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. I
Yeah,
remember
crazy.
those.
If you
American
blew
I
Eagle
remember
them-
candy
school
cigarettes.
being mad about kids having it.
If you blew through them, like powdered sugar would puff
Yeah,
out
it
like
w-
smoke.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And I did that. We thought it was cool. They were
Yeah.
definitely a bad idea. I mean, but it was
It
cool.
was cool.
You smoked cigarettes at one point, probably, right?
I've been
Fran?
smoking ever since. Yeah. I can't get off ever since the first puff of.
Ever
Back to
since
the
the
Cigar gum. Yeah, that's a good point.
Cigar gum.
I've still never
Pipe
smoked
Jolly
cigarette.
Ranchers. I mean, they got
They
everything.
had a bunch of that stuff. I remember my friends, we went because they sold them. They sold the cigarette stuff at, I think it was a Halloween store too, because they had fake cigarettes, they had candy cigarettes. And me and my friends were like, let's go and buy some fake cigarettes. And they
Yeah.
puffed the powder out and looked like
Yeah.
smoke. And I remember us doing that outside, and the adults around us were disgusted by us. The looks we got of like, oh my God, I cannot believe they're letting their child walk around like this.
It was like that Van
was
Halen
pretty
cover.
funny.
Did they think they
the
were real
kid-
cigarettes?
Cherub
Yes.
smoking.
Yes, they did. They
Did
sure
they?
did.
Did they really?
They really did. They were mad about it. Yep.
The
Pretty
world
funny.
is different now. That's for sure.
It is different. It is.
I still remember when they outlawed like indoor smoking at like bars and stuff
Oh yeah,
in our state. Like this was what, less than 20 years ago.
Oh,
bar
yeah.
owners
15
were
years
going
ago.
crazy because they were convinced that everybody was
Yeah.
just going to stop coming to the bar.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't still alcohol here.
You don't need two vices at the same time. Yeah.
You know what was messed up in Connecticut is they passed that same law. You couldn't smoke in bars unless you were a private club like rich people have. And then you can do whatever the
Mhm.
fuck you want because you're rich.
Yeah. Dude, it could be worse. Like, which actually I prefer it this way, but like in Japan, they don't want you smoking on the street and stuff like that, right? You got to go in the little smoking boxes and
Yeah, you
right?
got to go in the
Oh,
boxes.
it's like the
Yep.
airport.
You got to be in a tuna can and
Yeah, I mean, they literally, it's like a plastic clear, right? Like smoking box, like a
it's like,
telephone
hey,
booth.
everybody, look and point at the people that are smoking.
But they smoke plenty over there. They just
They do
they
smoke quite a lot over there. Yeah.
they don't throw their cigarettes on the street, and they go trap themselves inside a box, I guess, when they need to do it. It's nice.
Yeah. It's weird. Smoking almost illegal. Marijuana almost completely legal. It's really, really a turnaround
Really?
on the smoking front. I think generally improved. Actually, we're on a general
Yeah.
uphill climb. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yes.
live in Oregon. Mushrooms are legal here.
Man, I can only hope.
Oh,
Really?
man.
Podcasts are going to get a lot better if the mushrooms get legal in Connecticut.
Dude, I wanna try out some microdosing. I've heard great things.
I've heard great things too. What?
I've heard
I'm
great.
in. I'm sold.
I would like to. I want to be happy. Why are they keeping happiness away from
I
us?
like happiness. I'm a big fan.
They're just gonna get to a point where like just keep them, self-medicated at this point. Like we don't have anything to help them. Just make it all legal.
That's what they've been doing
Yeah.
with Xanax for the last 40 years.
It's true.
Axe the shit out of it,
Yeah.
so that we can.
Again,
Love it.
what they've been doing.
It's a good point. They just wanted to collect, more controlled sum of money from it. But yeah, it's time to just open the floodgates.
Yeah.
Unless you
screw it.
want us to complain and be unhappy.
Let us be happy. Turn the tap
That's
on
right.
to the happiness mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. How did prohibition work out?
Don't do
for you?
drugs, kids.
That's right.
We are not advocating for the use of
No,
controlled substances.
we're advocating for
Definitely
being
not.
happy
Yeah.
through microdosing, apparently. That's what I'm hearing.
I've heard great things.
Me
You
too.
gotta be safe.
What can I say?
It's the same as I said to Breyer. I had my advice on the whole pooping stuff,
Yeah.
but I did say I'm not a doctor. You should talk to a doctor.
Mhm.
Check the labels on the right. It's the
Talk
we're
to
assuming,
doctors.
right?
Right.
If you want to be happy, and
Talk to your
take any
doctor
of
about
this,
Mega
we're
Blast.
not
before
judging
trying
you
Mega
for
the- yeah.
Blast.
Your
I'm just
doctor
saying.
will ask you, have you had depression recently?
Yes.
I
When was
I
your
think
last bowel
usually
movement?
people just say no because they're
Yes.
like, I don't want you to
Yeah.
put me in the crazy place.
Right?
They want to know when your last
I
BM
feel
was.
some glaucoma coming on.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
What question do I have to answer to get meth?
Oh God. Well, wait a second.
I mean
Off the
Adderall.
deep
Sorry,
far.
Adderall.
Too
My
far.
bad.
No, that's speed.
What else? Anything else in the TWAB that we got to talk about?
Yes.
Sorry for
We
the
got the winner of the wizard sets.
Oh, who won?
Yeah. So for Hunter, it is the evil wizard.
Oh, it's the
For
insane clown
Warlock,
posse.
it is the evil wizard, and for Titan, it is the good wizard.
Okay.
So 64% of hunters chose evil wizard. Warlocks had a 54% for evil wizard, and Titans had a 65% for good wizards.
Wow. I feel like
Titans
that is a
look-
pretty accurate representation of the overall good or evil portion of each class.
Really?
Yeah.
Titans aren't evil? They're
Oh.
very evil. Evil people.
I think they're 65% good.
Yeah.
Most
I
of
like
them are
picture-
in the Crucible.
The picture on the TWAB of the Titan looking around like,
Yeah.
trouble.
He looks like he's surrounded. That's true. He's like,
65% of Titans were confused by how to vote.
I mean, stereotypically, shouldn't it be
Wow.
the Warlocks that are good and the Titans that are evil?
Got him.
I don't know.
Technically.
I was gonna say, not like I don't care at the results, but you should have voted if you cared. But I wanted to ask the question, having said that. Do you guys feel like they almost at the point, like, say how many people participated? I'm sort of curious at a point that's a bit lower. Like, how
Yeah.
many people really are making these decisions? And again, like, I don't care either way. But if you care, and maybe to get us the care, do you guys think they should just say, like, hey, like, 7,000 people decided on this?
I think that's dangerous because, like, if they
Why?
do that,
That's
then
just
they're gonna be
voting on cost.
expected to do it every time. And what if, like, engagement goes way down, like, over time?
Speculation.
there you
of
go. They're
Destiny's dying more than it already is.
Right.
You know?
They could say % of the population or something.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it's
It's a
a
weird one.
yeah.
Like, is it just me that wants to know that only like 4% of the play, engaged player base or something? I'm making this up. Is making these decisions. It's
No,
kind of a
I'm pretty
weird
sure
one.
that's true. That sounds
It's
accurate.
it's weird to me because on the one end, I love that they're like, you're engaged. If you care, then yeah, stop complaining, friend. Do something about it. I don't care because I'm fine with the results.
Well,
Regardless.
they sent the questionnaire out via email, right? Based
Yeah, and
on
I'm questioning
all
the
those
whole,
It was
like,
also
questionnaire emails
in-
that I
it
get,
was in
only
the
my
TWAB.
aunt is going to respond to it.
It was in the
It was in
TWAB
the
as well.
TWAB.
They had a link directly
Okay.
to it in there.
Who reads websites though? You know, we did put it in
I mean,
our
sure,
podcast.
yeah, true.
Just get AI to read them to me now.
But I was just saying on the other side, maybe it would be, I don't know. I guess it's just because I'm a data guy, but I'm like, how many people are making these decisions? Again, I think it's really cool that they involve the community in something that is that impactful. But then I'm like, it is that impactful. Like, it's the reason to hop in if you think these designs are cool enough. I guess since all the designs are pretty cool, maybe it doesn't matter on that front as well.
I was definitely less like, oh my god, there's clearly one that I want more this time around. I was like,
I
I'm
agree.
pretty happy with both, to be honest. I think I can use both pieces.
I'll
So,
be honest, I was all over the good hunter until Watts pointed out his pants, and I was like, you know what? Changed my mind.
It's the pants.
Flip
I ruined it.
The pants
Ruined it
Yeah, I
with
really like the
pants.
theme.
What are those?
The whole like Hogwarts, Lord of the Rings combined kind of vibe going, it feels like.
Yeah, when are we gonna get some more like pop culture integrations into Destiny?
The Witcher wasn't enough for
What are
you,
you
dude?
looking for?
Pokemon? I don't know, just something like
Pals.
PalWORld.
PalWorld.
No,
I'm like
like
some
I don't know.
pals, you know?
I
Pals
guess
begin.
this is the Raid Shadow Legends player in me where they have what is it, Monster Hunter integration right now
They
in
do.
that game.
That's I put out a tweet where I was
Do
like,
they
hey,
really?
I've said no for all the other sponsorships up until now, but if you want to do it now, I'll say yes.
I would steer clear because they they made one character like readily accessible for everybody, but any of the other ones it's kind of pay to get it, which is
Mm-hmm.
scary because
Is it?
spend
Yeah,
a lot of money trying to get that
actually,
stuff.
other than like emotes and stuff, have they anything that is like a licensed, PlayStation, The Witcher? That's all the Eververse, right? None of that has ever been in like an earn in the game situation, right?
The Halo stuff
Neat.
was earned in game, right? The weapons that came out of Halo, the BR and the pistol.
Oh right.
Oh yeah, because that was their anniversary, and Bungie made that content. But yeah, but I'm saying for like, yeah, if they put say Superman in the game,
Yeah.
um,
You know what would be good? A Mega Man. Mega Man would be good. Couldn't you see Mega Man being a Titan? But like a really short one?
See, and Mega Man's been in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that's true. He was. So was Ryu.
Yep. So's the Witcher. Geralt is in there as well. From
Jerry
the
from the River.
Jerry from the River. Yeah.
Jerry
But I-
Seinfeld. Just hey guys.
But I was getting at more of like the in the world of like, it's already in there in the Eververse. Would you guys care if the season pass had a let's just say it is a PlayStation inspired character? Like, yeah, let's just say it's a Kratos set.
That'd be
Kratos
cool.
has already been in there.
I know, I was just using it as like
Oh,
an example.
okay. I was
Let's say
like,
it showed a
Good
new one
news,
showed
Fran,
up.
it's already here.
Yeah, if it showed up as part of a season pass, would you be mad that it's like, well, that's not Destiny, keep it in the store,
Sonic. Wait, that's not.
If it was extra, I don't think I would care at this point because it's in the game either way.
Yeah. And what if they
But-
had a
but-
Sonic-shaped sparrow that you could ride around and went a little bit faster than every other sparrow?
Yeah, see,
It'd be
now
cooler
you're talking.
if
It
it was
makes
like-
the sound.
Shadow too, like or like Knuckles or something. Shadow.
Or a
Yes.
Mario one, and it was just said Italian stuff all the whole time you were riding it.
That would be awesome.
In Chris Pratt's voice.
See, I love that. But I bring it up because I hate I know it's just me. I hate like sports emotes and stuff that the Guardians are like, touchdown. It's all like Fox football nonsense. And I'm like, there's way more of that because they want you to buy this stuff than
Yeah.
there is like in-game sensible, even in the passes, like it's always like goofy and fun because like, to be fair, I'm not fun and clearly people like to have fun. But I'm like, I want like cool in-game lore.
So no mushrooms
emotes.
from Fran.
No mushrooms for free.
Not fun. But I mean, I don't care that it's in the game to bring that point full circle. But I could see it bothering some people, when you throw more and more of that Fortnite, license crap in there versus letting it be the world.
Does that really upset people to have licensed stuff in other games? Like, is there a contingent of people that are like, no, this sucks?
Well, I mean,
Or-
for Destiny, I wonder is why I bring it up.
It was weird as a Street Fighter fan to see Ryu walking around with an AK-47. It was weird.
That is weird.
Dragon Ball
I didn't get
Z.
upset about it, but it was. I gave it a side eye, like that's weird. But then also when Chun-Li got rated the most, the most looked up video game character on,
For porn.
yeah, the porn website, but the reference was for Fortnite. I was like,
It was
"What?"
Fortnite's Chun-Li, everybody. That's right.
I care. I mean, I care like broadly in the sense of like if all this if that's where it really does relate to cosmetics for purchase. Like if people are walking around with the Superman logo as a cape as a hunter, and there's a bunch of them, and I know that they bought it, and it's the coolest looking cape I've seen in a long time. Like it pisses me off on all fronts. I've been having this conversation a lot about cosmetics, and it's like I'm not going to go off on that rant, but the store and the slippery slope of like all the cool stuff, you can pretty much tell. It glows, it sparkles, it sings, it slices, it dices, and every time in the pass that you buy, you're like, well, that looks pretty good. But when you see it in the store, like, it's because Diablo. Dude, like in Diablo, they have like a freaking kingly, like for the barbarian, you'd be like straight out of Game of Thrones. And in the game, it's like, it's inspired by Season of Construct. You're like, it's okay, it looks good. But the store, I'm like, I do want to pay $25, and that pisses me off.
I mean, that's fair.
That's ultimately what ruined one of the primary enjoyment factors from Destiny for me was the store. Was like I wanted to collect everything. Like in every part of Destiny, I just wanted everything. Like, and I was willing to work for it. But as soon as they started putting stuff in the store, like that I couldn't earn in game, I was like, I'm out. I don't want to collect that. And if I don't want to collect that, then I don't want to collect everything anymore. Which then like nothing is that important anymore.
So that's why you stopped playing.
There's a lot of reasons I stopped playing. The seasonal model is part of that.
Pinpointed it.
Gating content over time, yeah.
Yeah, the store and the seasonal content model is the two big ones though.
Yeah, I mean, I bring it up because it's relevant of like, they just added to the game, go beat a lost sector again. Now we're getting an Eververse conversation, but go beat it again and pick from one of these weapons, which is like, it's good reward. I want those things, but you're like, dude, there's so many sick like emotes and outfits and all this stuff in the store. And imagine that you're like, I really want that set. I'm just going to grind this dungeon for it. And like, I don't think that's existed either ever in a really long time. I mean, again, you can get a dungeon set of armor, which is dope, but compared to the stuff in the store, I think very often on most of these services, and that's why I have beef across all of them, as soon as you open the door, you know, to that vampire demon in the house, like it exists. The store stuff is always way cooler. It's a major problem.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care about
Yeah,
quantity.
it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, it's like the quantity I care less about. If there's like 5 things in the store, but only 1 in the game, but they're just as cool, like I'm more open to it. I still don't want it, but I'm at the point I'm like, every time I'm just pissed every time I open the shop because it's way cooler than anything in the game.
I think having the Eververse store in Destiny is diametrically opposed to having a looter shooter. It's like the whole point of this game is to go out and collect shit, but you're putting shit off on the side into a store where the only thing I have to do this is to buy it. And like, where's the fun? Where's the engagement in that? That's just like, I understand that like microtransactions make a lot of money, but like in Street Fighter, I have no problem doing it, right? Because it's not part of the fucking core loop of the game is to find this shit and to earn it, you know?
Yeah.
To me, it's a really interesting like psychological discussion actually, because me personally, I don't, and I think just me as a person, I don't necessarily care about appearing cool to people. Like it doesn't bother me. Like I drive a 2005 Mazda 3. It's been paid off for like 10 years.
Yeah, but you got
like
30-inch rims on that thing. Don't tell me you don't feel like it's really cool.
I got the stock 17-inch rims. Anyways, so like like we drive around that, and then our commuter car is my wife's 2012 Prius. Like we could theoretically buy a nicer car, like, but I don't see the point of spending.
I don't think so.
I don't see the point of spending like money on whatever, the like a depreciating asset. That's like my mind goes into function over form, and I don't buy fancy clothes. I don't wear jewelry. I don't do this, that, or the other. And just as a person, so like if you're the type of person who likes the cosmetic, whether it's for yourself, like getting cool shoes or whatever it is, right? Something that makes you feel cooler or better or whatever word adjective to use, and I'm not judging here. Like my vice is video games, right? Like that's what I spend my money on.
Yeah.
And but it's just like a different thing. So to people in a game that have to have that cosmetic to feel something, whatever that something is, it's such an interesting psychological discussion for me because I don't feel that. Like it doesn't bother me to be missing out on this stuff at all.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's there for somebody else, like I'm like,
For me, it
cool,
was more
great,
about just like completing the collection, right? It's like,
sure.
like I want all the exotics, and like for me, getting the last exotic in Destiny 1, even though it wasn't a very good weapon, was a big like hallelujah moment, and I'll always remember. I remember who I was playing with. I remember what we were playing.
Hmm.
But there's
But
levels
locking
to,
that stuff away, it was just kind of ruined that fun for me.
yeah. And I get what you're saying, Jay. I think it's super smart and it makes a lot of sense. But there's also levels to it, right? Like meaning, are you telling me, just let's stick to Destiny, the game for now. Are you saying that you don't like any of the cosmetic vanity rewards that you get from completing a dungeon or anything? Like you don't care how anything looks. You just as
I
well
mean,
wear like a dumb looking trash
no,
bag as a,
seriously, no,
like you
I
don't care
will.
how your character looks at all. Like you don't play
Not really,
for,
no.
you don't. So if
I
they
would
I'll
strip
put
out
on
all the
something goofy
cosmetics,
looking
never.
just to
Mhm.
like be goofier. I'll put something on like I put something on, not like the worst
but
thing in
don't
the
you like
world, but I'll be like, oh
putting,
yeah, that I have made stuff that looks cool in matches, but I don't feel like I'm doing it for me. As a content creator, I feel like I have to
yeah,
put on
yeah,
that
I call it the
presentation of
stream
like, oh, I look
entertainment.
cool, like. But to me, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks cool, but it doesn't affect how I play.
Wait, you
Or
don't feel rewarded by getting, say, like a cosmetic item from
no,
the
I'm like,
game
yeah,
for
that's
free?
cool. No, I understand and that it does feel rewarding to a lot of people, but it doesn't have for me, it's the gun, it's the gear, it's the thing that makes my
What it does.
character stronger, or that it feels good to use, or it makes my experience, which I prefer the like actual usability of something as opposed to how it
Totally,
looks.
yeah.
That's just
That
me
that
personally. Like it's not any shot to anybody
that
else.
yeah, and again, I'm with you. That tends to be what I chase, but I bet you're like, I assume you feel rewarded when you get a raid armor piece that looks good. That doesn't mean you have to feel cooler
More
than
for
other
the
people.
perks that are specific that help me in the
Okay.
encounters and stuff.
So that's
Because like
interesting.
raid gear often has raid specific perks, so that's what I chase.
Yeah, and I prefer that, but I still feel nice when I get a sweet new hood
Yeah,
or
yeah, it's
hunter.
like, oh, that looks cool.
But
Or
yeah, I
something
don't
that
want to
just makes
I'm
spend
you
not
look
20.
saying it doesn't.
absolutely ridiculous, like the tiny little sparrow.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, I like the mini sparrow. I like stuff that's different
That's
and
good.
silly and fun. Personally, that's just
Yeah,
me.
like football touchdowns.
No, I mean,
I
I don't know, stuff that
feel
makes
that.
other people stop and look at you and be like, oh, that's silly.
Mhm.
Do you guys want to do Twitter questions?
Let's do it.
That's why I want sparrow horns back. By the way,
God damn it, Jay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, we're never doing that again with how annoying people were with
It-
it.
That was more annoying than the DJ thing bothers me a bit too. It's not too bad. It's
that's
pretty
me.
What's the
cool.
I'm the
DJ
DJ
thing?
guy.
It's a DJ
The emos.
tape, but it's got a beat.
Oh.
But
That's
every
It's not
time,
super loud, but
but when I matchmake with people, to be fair, it's because I'm streaming. Then like sometimes you stand in the tower and like 3 people stand around you, and like the music is like actually epic that week because it's like the end of the season, and it's like I told you I'm not fun. That's why. But
Oh, we did learn that. It's
it,
true.
I thought it was dope, and then everybody started using it, and I was like, oh, grumble, grumble.
old man Fran.
Grim Invictus, Hive God of Lore says, which seasonal aesthetic did you guys like the least? For example, I hated
It's
the
very
look.
topical.
For example, I hated the look of seasons like Witch and Haunted. They just seem so gloomy and depressing. I prefer seasons like Chosen, Splicer, and Seraph. This has nothing to do with the plot. It's purely about vibes.
Ooh.
I mean, the
It's hard
Dreaming
to
City
remember
stuff
without
I always
looking.
thought was fucking awesome, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I thought it was great.
But they said, wait, did they say disappointed or
Didn't like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. My bad.
the opposite? I thought they were
It's
asking. you-
really hard. I think it's hard to remember ones that you weren't that crazy about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgettable.
I don't remember any.
What is the not dubstep? What is it called? The like the neon season. What was
The
that?
Splicer.
That Splicer.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was so unique, it's very rememberable. What's the memorable, right? So you
Yeah.
remember that stuff. But I also liked to your point, like Dreaming City and kind of the darker stuff, but something that has a story that's impactful. Dark for the sake of dark is not always interesting.
Yeah. I kind of agree with him on the season of the haunted stuff. That didn't really get me too excited. That was all like red and like some of it had like some Taken vibes to it, didn't it?
That was the skull mask for sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to look at a list. Like
I would.
trying to
I
pull
definitely have to look at a list. Yeah, I'm struggling to
Send us a
remember.
link to the list next time, and then.
Here's the list and the
Oh, I found
associated
it.
pictures for all the seasons to make comparisons and contrasting.
Oh, actually, I found it on Blueberries GG. So if anybody decides, I'll leave the link in our little group chat. But also for everybody out there, you can find it on places like Blueberries. But yeah, I mean, dude, there's been like so many seasons, and this place lists Eververse and everything. So I'd really have to like go through it. But my guess is the farther back you go, the more disappointed you get.
I would assume so,
but-
because they've definitely got more bombastic in
Hmm.
recent times. Oh, so I wasn't a huge fan of
Oh, yeah,
my God,
Cinder
season
Pinion.
17.
What was that?
Oh, I'm looking it
I
up.
can't see it properly.
It is the Presage.
Actually, no, that's not bad. Actually,
That's kind of weak. The green and brown armor you're talking about?
season
Or no?
16, season 16 armor. I didn't dig that very much.
Okay.
Let's just put it any Gambit
That's
armor.
all I can tell you. That's all I got.
Anything Gambit. Fuck him.
Yeah. Any Gambit armor.
Charles B. Davis says, what do you think about inherent capability goals of PalWORLD? Are RPGs still fun without altruism?
Well, this isn't really an RPG. It's a lot more survival. Like there's RPG elements, like you can level up your character and like you're kind of doing some role play and stuff, but it's definitely a lot more heavier on the survival side. What was the question?
What do you think about the inherent capability goals of PalWORLD? Are RGB I can't
I haven't
talk
played
again.
PalWorld.
Are RPGs still fun without altruism?
Yeah, I mean, are they
Without
basically saying like without
altruism.
having to care about your like pet and raising this thing? And I mean, you can enslave them, but is that what they're saying? Like without
I
that
don't really know
aspect?
what they're saying. Because like you do have to in PalWorld, you are caring about your pals because you're feeding them, you're petting them, you're like making sure they have places to relax.
Well, right. No, I think yeah, that's what I don't totally understand the question. I think they're saying that
I'm not
because
totally
it has
understanding.
you so focused on caring about if they live or die, etc. If you were to strip that out, would you still want to play the game?
Well, if you strip that out, it's a completely different game, I think,
Yeah.
at that point. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, would you enjoy Elden Ring if you took out the boss fights? I'm like, well, yeah, but not as much. Yeah, I don't fully understand the question. I'm not gonna lie. I
I
don't
think
fully
it's too
understand.
existential.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
think you
little- I'm a
need to
little
dumb
dumb.
it down a little bit for us, Charles B.
Yeah,
Davis.
I don't
Hook
get
us
it.
up with a pretend we're 5 years old and ask the question again next week.
Yeah.
We've already had that. We've shot down to first one. We're like, you got to send us a link to the. This one, we're like, no, too many big words. Let's bring this back a
Too dumb. Move on.
bit.
Declan Sweeten
Not
says,
the
"Hey
question
guys,
us.
with what's that?
I was just clarifying, not the question us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Declan Sweeten
Yeah.
says, "Hey
So-
guys, with multiple highly rated games already launching this early into the year, do you think 2024 might actually exceed 2023 in terms of complete bangers coming out? And if so, which games
No.
stick out to you the most?"
No, so I don't have to answer the second part. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be very hard to meet what all the things that combined into the just massive year that it was. Because like a lot of that, right, you had the pandemic and you had
Yeah.
things years and years in the making of situational investment. We've also, I mean, maybe it's as simple as that. As we're seeing a lot of layoffs and stuff now. There
I was
are
just
some
gonna
things
comment. I was like, with the
being
layoffs,
finished up, but a lot of the hard work was done and everything's kind of like shrinking down again. And so, I don't know. I'm sure it'll still be a big year, but that's just my view. I don't know. What
If
do you guys
Elden
think?
Ring DLC comes out, I know that Fran canceled it, but if it does come out this year, then yeah, I
No
agree.
fun.
2023
I
is
mean,
going to be
final shape,
a
right?
shade underneath Elden Ring DLC's mighty tower of awesomeness.
Wait, you're saying that 2023 will look, it'll be
look
under the
paltry.
Erd tree
It'll look unimpressive.
compared to one game? Yeah.
With DLC.
Hey man, I'm excited about it personally.
There's-
big time.
It's definitely going to be hard to top last year. There are some big ones, like Dragon's Dogma 2. I think is going to do very well. That's a big one. Honestly, Hellblade 2 is coming out. That's going to be like a crazy game. The DLCs we're waiting on to see on dates. Honestly, the list of games that we're waiting for dates on is pretty massive. So I don't even know most of the ones that are coming out this
It's
year.
true. It could definitely change.
Sega, the Sega remakes they're doing. That are those this
Are
year?
those
Brian?
expected for this year? I didn't get that
That's
impression.
the question.
I don't think they have known.
I don't think
dates
they
on
rate
those.
either. Like,
But
I
like
think
Indiana's
got-
supposed to
I'm
come.
just
they got
yeah.
nerds really excited. Like me.
I
and
was
you.
just being facetious. Like stuff
There
that I
is-
know is coming out.
It's just like last year was so crazy that
It
it's,
was,
I haven't
yeah.
even thought, but like, okay, if you start naming it, Switch 2 might come out, right? We know now Indiana Jones and the Great Circle come out. There'll be another Call of Duty, Watts noted, Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
We've got, let's just say Shadow of the Erd Tree comes out at some point. So
If Fran
let's say
allows it.
with Switch 2, there's a brand new Mario game and 60 frames a second.
I mean, they just got a
Tears.
new Mario game though. This 2020.
Yeah, what's
No,
gonna
but
be
I'm
the,
saying
what
like
would
a
be,
3D
What would be a
one.
killer app launch title for a Switch 2?
A new
Super
3D
Mario Odyssey
game,
2 or
definitely.
whatever.
Metroid
I don't
Prime.
think it's going to be a new Mario game. It's not going to be a new Zelda game. It's
Metroid
too
Prime.
soon.
Are you
Four?
asking what they'll
Not going to be a new
do
Pokemon game. Yeah, I was curious.
or
Like,
what they should do?
well, no, I think what will actually.
You don't think it
what
could be a
it'll
new
actually-
Mario game? Why don't
don't
you think
think
it
so.
could be a new Mario game?
Wonder just came out.
Yeah, but that was a 2D game.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
made by
agreeing
the
with
same
Brian
guy
on
who
that, but-
makes the same team I think who makes new Super Mario Brothers.
You think
right?
they're like splitting the development team as opposed,
I think there's different development
like
teams
more
for
of
the
like an
new and the
Odyssey, like Odyssey
world.
2 or something like that?
They've, I mean, I have to look at how they're, but yeah, in general, they've got just a lot of
Sure.
Mario stuff happening,
Yeah.
and but
I
Odyssey
can
yeah,
see a
it could
60
happen.
FPS version of the Zelda as well.
You
Well,
can't
if-
count. You can't count a re-release as a
There's a lot of
oh yeah,
games.
you can.
Well,
like what is Twilight Princess
totally
launched
can.
across 3 systems or whatever.
there are a lot of games that I personally am excited about this year, right? So
too.
for me, could it be a better year potentially? Because Black Myth Wukong's coming
Oh, yeah.
out, Rebirth's about to come out,
Oh, I
Hellblade
forget about
2,
Wukong.
Rise
You
of
always bring it up.
Ronin, Dragon's Dogma, Stellar Blade's supposed to come out this year. So in terms of games I'm looking forward to, there's a lot
There are a lot.
coming out this year. That's my thing.
And I would argue 2023, the hype may have been bigger than the delivery a little bit. Starfield.
I knew you were gonna say Starfield. and you might as well have said Redfall too. I mean, come on,
There were
low hanging fruit.
the
Starfield
hype
is a
was
good
like
game, but not for
all
everybody.
time high. And I think there was some great stuff that came out last year, but I wouldn't consider it for me to be like one of those like there are years like the year that like Halo came out and there's like
Dude,
it was-
my how quickly we forget. That's all I'm gonna say. Like 2023, I love this conversation is awesome because the reality is we're not looking at lists, and so you're working from our addled memories.
yeah.
and
Extremely
already
addled.
we're Mark, put a nail in the coffin, dude. 25 days in, it's like 2023 ain't got it. Like it was a
I
month
loved
ago.
2023. It was great. I loved it.
It was
Sonoma
insane.
Sonoma in chat makes a good point. If Prime 4 comes out,
Yeah,
for the
It
I
will.
said
Switch 2,
Prime
that
4
would
like
be-
5 times already.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't.
So okay,
I can't hear you. My ears. I'm old. I'm sorry.
I feel the need to be clear. I think 2024 is going to be another amazing year in gaming, but it's going to be very hard to beat 2023. I was not saying it's going to be a bad year.
Yeah,
Big
Final
difference.
Fantasy 7 Rebirth coming. That's like in
Yeah,
a month
dude.
away.
Dude, if
It's very
that
close.
and Switch 2 come out and we get Indiana Jones the Great Circle and that's a great game, and then
Yeah.
we've got like all like Wukong, etc.
Wukong, the Great Circle, that would be a good one too.
It's going to be an awesome year for sure. I think we have
Big.
years and years of awesome years, but like to beat last year, go look at the list.
I got high hopes for Wukong. Wukong looks cool. All right.
I'm really
Next question.
excited for No Rest for the Wicked.
I don't
Like
even know what
that
game
has
is.
become one of the, I don't know if it's coming out this year. They said learn more on March 1st. So we don't have a release date for it, but it's the people behind Ori and the Blind Forest, and they're making like a
Oh.
action RPG. And
Okay.
man, they know how to make a good looking game and a good feeling game. So I'm really excited for what they're making.
They do. I
Sounds
think
cool.
that's still the best. Like, I just got a new TV game. I really do.
Yeah,
Will of
it's
the Wisps.
incredible. Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
just
Is
got a
it
new
still on
TV.
Game Pass?
I don't know if it's on Game Pass.
Have you played that before, Briar?
Will of the Wisps?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Wait, was that the second one?
That was the second
Yes.
Okay. I
Sounds
thought so.
fun
Yeah,
to say.
good.
Will of the Wisps.
Will
Yeah.
of the Wisps. Cool
Wisps.
Whips. Cool Whip.
Wisps.
Now
Call
I
your
am
cat
getting
over.
excited about this year, though. The more I think
This year
about
is
it, but-
exciting.
I never said it wasn't
I'm
going
really
to be, though.
excited for this
You know
year.
what, Declan? You're right. You nailed it, Declan.
Calling it now.
But seriously, next time, send us fully homeworked list of things to choose from because we don't know what's going on.
Gator says, "Hi DCP. Since the full moon is tonight, are you guys boarding up or going wild tonight? Love you guys." Oh, I didn't
What
know it
does
was a
boarding
full
up
moon.
mean? Like just staying inside?
Are we werewolves? We have to like trap ourselves inside so we don't like kill anybody?
Yes.
I have small children. They are 100% werewolves.
Can confirm. Vampires too. They suck the sleep right out of you.
I don't think any of us think about this. I don't think any of us knew.
We'll be playing video games. You know, that's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever notice like your sleep schedule changes according to the moon cycle?
No, because it sucks in the first place.
I just
Mm.
picture like a moon calendar next to your bed. Like,
Well, I actually put one on my watch because I did start to
That's
notice that.
cool.
I think when the moon is more full, I sleep less than when the moon is less.
Is it
So I
because there's
started-
light in your house? Come
No,
through?
we have blackout curtains in our bedroom,
Okay.
so I can't
I mean,
see
I have
that
been
being
sleeping less this week too.
part of it. And like I can track my sleep. My bed tracks my sleep, and then I can compare that to the phase of the moon now. So I don't know. I just started doing this, so I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see, Gator. Follow up.
Confirmed. Briar has a cycle.
Rundis says we always talk about favorite game and favorite console, but what is your all-time favorite controller you've ever used, either first party or third? Favorite controller.
Wavebird.
Probably the
GameCube Wavebird.
the 360, Xbox 360.
360 was good.
It's pretty good. I really like the Scuff Impact. I think that's been my favorite
Yeah, that one's
like
pretty
Scuff
good, too.
controller.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's like
I
the
figured
big
you'd hop
wide one,
on
right?
the
Yeah, that one was actually very close to the Xbox 360.
Duke.
Yeah. 8-Bit Do makes like a PlayStation style controller that I really like, but it's got like finger buttons on the back.
How's it go?
That I really like. It's called the Pro 2, I think, and it's only like $50. Controllers are expensive now, man.
Yeah, they have been expensive, dude.
Yeah. It's like I forget, and then I'm like, oh, I need a new controller for my PlayStation. $70.
I want to know how much money Nintendo's made selling all those different colored Joy-Cons. It's gotta be a
right. Not
boatload,
only
dude.
do they got the collectors, but those things break constantly. So
You
you
can
have
Oh,
to
buy
yeah.
them separately now too.
Yeah, they got new pink ones coming out with Peach.
Ooh.
Are
I
they
did
gonna
see that.
do? Is there? Am I remembering correctly that there's a new Peach game on the Switch coming at some point?
There
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yes.
Because there's
Princess
that
Peach
DS game, and that's
Showtime.
the only other one that's come out. So it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
I think it comes out soon. Is it out in February maybe? But you
I
can get
think it's
pastel
out
pink.
in a really bad time, from what I can recall.
The DS one
March
was good.
22nd.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, there were some big things in
Was
March.
it March 22nd?
Yeah.
The worst day to launch your game. Dragon's Dogma and Rise of Ronin is out on March 22nd.
Probably a very different audience for Princess Peach Showtime versus those games. But that's a
Probably.
good. I mean, to be fair, like I'm not saying we don't play it, but I
mean,
love the
the
idea
DS
that
one-
Nintendo's worried about Princess Peach Showtime going up against, like Wukong or something.
Is it a platformer? Is it like a
Yeah, I
Mario type
believe.
game? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. People that
It
like
looks fun.
Yeah.
Like meaning I haven't even played the newest Kirby except for the demo, but I mean I think it's in the vein of, all of Nintendo games like that.
Nintendo games.
Yeah, I was just kidding. I wasn't shutting down that. I hope you didn't think I was shutting down that opinion.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, it's just like I was laughing because I was imagining a world where Nintendo's like writing down the launch dates, and then they're like, okay, well, what's gonna eat our lunch?
Rise of the Ronin.
Rise of the Ronin. It's like this super bloody,
Rundus says we always talk about favorite game or I just read that one. Wait, did we? Yeah, okay. Aang says, who are your favorite superheroes and why do you guys hate SRL? Big love to you guys and SRL. I hate SRL. I hate SRL because I want Bungie to make a great shooting game, not a great racing game. Like, they're never going to make a great racing game in Destiny. So if I
doesn't
want
need
to
to
play a
be
great
great.
racing game, I'd rather just go play a great racing game, like
Yes.
Wipeout or something, right? Like, because that's what they made, right? Is they made a not as good version of Wipeout.
Here's a question though.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever said that you wanted space flight combat or anything like that in Destiny?
Of course I do. But they
But not
already
before all
did
the other
SRL
things.
and they did it poorly. I have high hopes that they can do space travel in a good way.
Okay. All
Speaking of which, Star Wars Outlaws, that's right, comes out this year.
That
There's
is
another
this
one.
year.
Outlaw.
Another one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Getting more excited.
You guys are building up 2024. I'm getting pretty excited over here.
I'm super excited for 2024. That's good stuff.
I am with Briar though. Like they got way more things to add to the game. I mean, I liked SRL, but I do not want to hear their focus. In other words, like we're waiting for them to even finally get a few PvP maps out. We always have this conversation. It's like,
Yeah.
do you really want them spending time on SRL right now? Of course.
We know
like,
you're waiting for new PvP maps, but to hold your spot in line, we're gonna
exactly.
Amanda Holiday's got a
again.
big announcement.
Sorry, what was the original question? I already
A favorite superhero.
That's a good point. Favorite superhero.
I don't know if I have a favorite superhero. I'm just not that into superheroes.
always kind of been into Wolverine a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wolverine's
Yeah, he's
definitely cool.
He's
I like that
kind of got
that Daredevil TV show that was on Netflix for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kingpin especially.
Yeah.
Think of him as being from Law and Order. Was it Law and Order that he was from? What show was that guy from?
Oh yeah,
guy?
it was a Law and Order. Like,
Was it Law and Order?
Yeah,
It's
one of
it's
the
hard
Law
not
and
to think
Orders.
of him as some kind of
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio.
true crime show.
Yeah. He was
Oh,
good.
nice.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I always watched the X-Men cartoon growing up, Phoenix was like, man, Phoenix was so cool. I don't know if you could call
Didn't
her
they
a
bring back
superhero,
the
but-
X-Men cartoon? Like they started making new
I don't know.
episodes for that, didn't they?
No.
I'm pretty
That'd be
sure.
crazy if so. Maybe.
I am crazy.
Probably, you know what? Now that I say it out loud, though, I guess it is Batman.
Batman.
So like because he's like he's a superhero, but he's also not like super powers, So
It's like
Yeah.
Iron Man too. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
I was thinking about
incredibly
Iron Man
rich.
as well. I guess I like rich dudes with like they're tinkering with these amazing suits. You know what, Jay? You've diagnosed it pretty fast there, yeah.
It's that convention of you probably like Breaking Bad and Orange is the New Black and Weeds and all that stuff like me, because it's like, you know, it depicts the normal person put in extraordinary circumstances and like watching them kind of figure out how to get out of it. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like being able to picture yourself in that scenario, right? Like it's really intriguing and interesting than as opposed to somebody who just like happens to have superpowers. It's like really unrelatable in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
The Gaming Ox says, what's a game that you absolutely wanted to play but never played because of its release time or because it was too close to a Destiny DLC? Oh my god, there's so many of these.
Every game last year.
Armor Core.
I've been talking about them every week, guys. I finally beat Dead Space. Like, I know Briar's going to say Pikmin.
Okay.
Which Pikmin?
Pikmin 4, right, Briar? Is that that the one? Now he's going into, I have never even heard of it. This is true denialism now. Wow. He went from like, yeah, it's like, I got it right here.
Which
Is that in back of him actually? Oh my God, dude. I think wait, no. Is that over your left shoulder, Briar, or no?
What's that? That right there?
Yeah.
That's Street Fighter.
Oh, okay.
Which Pikmin?
Pikmin's not taunting me anywhere. Yeah, I know. I see Jay's got, oh, dude.
Well, I got a lot of 29 Switch games in the mail today. These are both sealed, actually.
Wow.
I guess.
Briar,
anybody wants some games to play? Anybody?
Yeah.
Games? Anybody need any games to
play? For those
play?
listening, Jay's holding up a cardboard box of like 30 games.
29, actually. Good call.
Yeah, there's so many
games.
What
was the
question? The game that you missed that you wish you had played at release time.
Of all time, maybe.
You know, I never played Skyrim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I feel like going back, like I've tried to, like, I think like after I did The Witcher 3, I tried to go into it, and I was like, I'm just not digging it. Like, the combat sucks, and like, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. But I feel like if I had played it at the time when it was new and everybody was kind of caught up into it, I might have gotten into it. I feel like Bethesda's formula has kind of like grown very thin for me.
I think that's fair. Yeah, it's like super old.
Yeah. Whereas like Fallout, I was all in, right? Fallout 3, New Vegas, I was all in. Fallout 4, I was kind of like, this is wearing thin a little bit. Skyrim was before Fallout 4. I don't know.
I wish Fallout games were co-op, personally.
Zabe says, will Nintendo sue PalWorld?
Rewind to
really
about
interesting
13 minutes into the show.
Yeah. I don't know.
Go back to that
they
time
do like to sue people. Deletus Kel of House Yeet says, hey, DCP, hope you all are well. How do you guys feel about the new survival games out there with the release of PalWorld and now Enshrouded early access? I know, but it counts. Love the cast and have an excellent night and day. Thank you, Deletus.
Survival games they're games that I can get really into and I'm enjoying them, and then I fall off super hard and super fast.
I'm the same way.
They don't keep my attention for very long. So I'm more so looking forward to trying out Nightingale, because that seems to be doing something quite different to what a lot of survival games are doing. But yeah, I play them, I have fun with them, and then I'm like, okay, I feel like I've kind of gotten everything that I want. I don't need to get super end game with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I tend to be.
What was the Viking one that we were talking about earlier? I did really like that one.
Valheim.
Valheim, I really enjoyed. I thought the world was so cool, and but I was playing with you guys, so I was having a lot of fun just doing that, like laughing and giggling, and like, you know, trapping people in the ogre cave, and that was funny.
Yeah, it's just like, if you want to play more than a couple games a year, like it's just, they're so demanding, which is, I know that I like them, but I just tend to stay away. The same as I stay away from MMOs and like, I already have enough problems because I love so many different types of games, but to me, they make more sense for people who want to get a lot of value out of a few games. And I think that's one big piece of it.
That's fair.
But it's also, it's easy in the same way as like an MMO has done stuff like this for a long time. Like, it's kind of trapping you in these daily tasks and the grind, but it's a very slow grind. But it's easy to get addicted to that stuff too. And you sort of,
Definitely.
you finish sometimes, you're like, well, oh my God, I spent way too much time in this game. And
It's very easy to, yeah, because you're like, oh, I need to get more materials to make the house that I want to make. Oh, well, now I just got this new thing that I can make, so now I want to make that. And it's just like a constant loop of, it keeps you in the game for sure. They're very addicting games.
I feel like most
Very
technology nowadays is trying to do that to profit as much as it can. Like,
yeah,
you think about things like Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and it pretty much any game, like very rarely is there like a story-driven game that doesn't have something trying to keep you in the game for more than like the main story.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
yeah. I mean, for me, it has hit a critical mass. I mean, part of it, streaming and it's talking about all this stuff, so it's a job to like try to play everything. And it's a nice problem to have. But I mean, there's critical mass of like, God, like for many, many years now, I'm like, I just want cut out all the fat. I talk about it a lot. I'm like, just give me the good stuff and stop making me. Or I've talked a lot about how I'm willing to pay just as much as I do today, 60, $70, but I'm just as happy if it was like 12 hours instead of 45 hours. Like, because I feel like the first 30 hours is just kind of meant to, it teaches you, but it also strings you along for a while until you get to the good stuff, so to speak. And I'm way more in the camp of, and that's why I don't play a lot of the survival stuff. I'm like, I just want to get straight into the good stuff and learn that, be done with it, and move on.
The amount
It'll be
of time in a
interesting.
video game is attached too closely to this value, which I think is not something
Yeah.
that should happen. I understand, like, for some people it very much is, but it's like they don't talk about this. There's no longest movie award at the Oscars, right? It has nothing to do with the quality of the movie.
It'd
I
be
don't know,
interesting
like,
to see if the market in the future starts going more towards that again, because we've been for how many years now? 20 plus years. It's been in the like how many hours of entertainment can you get out of this game? Right. And so you think about a lot of like think about like the Call of Duties and stuff that are more focused on PvP, obviously, but they had
Mhm.
like campaigns that were 4, 5, 6 hours long and they got just absolutely torn to shreds, like ridiculed, like it's not long enough, da 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 da. But it kind of feels like we're having an opposite problem where stuff is trying to, take too much time to get
Yeah.
through the content. So
padded.
it'd be really interesting and refreshing if, I think a lot of indie games are doing this and big games start they kind of follow suit usually to indie games eventually. And if they start following more of the, you know, really curated limited time, that's a really cool experience, but it's like a really, between 8 and 15 hours or something like that. It'd be really
Or
interesting
even
to see if
less, like a few
the
hours.
market, yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah,
it's
it
hard to
is.
justify spending 60 on that, but you can also wait till it goes on sale.
Well, if the game is
Yeah.
good enough to be replayable too, it's like I can play this for 3 hours several times. I've become so addicted to shooters lately. I don't, the
Mhm.
game is 30 minutes long if you play it start to finish, but I play it for hours and hours just trying to get better at it, right?
Right.
Yes.
Matches are short and all that stuff too.
There's a huge problem too. It's like everything has got to be an open world game now, and it's just filled with fucking boring shit to do.
It's filibuster. Yeah.
Also like Metroidvanias, like every indie company is making a Metroidvania now, but it's like whatever happened to just like level based games where you just like you saw some cool shit and you move the fuck on, like, I don't know.
No, you
Like,
but you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta come back and revisit and get that little trinket that you
you got to
haven't
walk
gotten
through
before.
this level like 300 times before you're done.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the danger though of what part of it is what Jay said though, is the danger. You have this perception of what the money's worth, and
Yeah.
in one breath you agreed, yeah, totally, I don't want it, but maybe I'll wait till it's on sale. You are part of the, I mean, we all are, but you're part of the problem with that. Will you throw down the $60 and just be happy with, The Last of Us 2, and they didn't drag it out. They cut out 10 extra of those hours, and you're like, yeah, it was just as good. I mean, again, like on top level, that's all I'm saying. And I don't remember with Last of Us 2, but I
They
probably would
definitely
have been
could have
like,
cut out 10 hours of Last
Yeah.
of Us 2, and people would have said it's better.
yeah. And again, maybe that was storytelling, but maybe it was gameplay too. Like you're saying, like I'm tired of searching under the cabinets.
Yeah.
So make sure that your game is super fun, and I'm not going to care whether it's, 12 hours or not. But the mass consumer base is very different. And now it's the even worse problem is how many free games there are. And then you got whales in the cosmetic store buying all this stuff, creating a bigger problem of
Yeah.
now they're trying to keep you in the game for 100 hours in a month because you're more likely to spend 70, 150 bucks,
When I was younger too, I definitely wanted longer games, right? I'd buy RPGs because I knew they were going to last longer because I had more time, right? And I was
Yeah.
only going to
Yeah.
get one game for a long time.
Exactly. But then there were only like 5 good games that year, though, like really good ones.
Good point. That's a good point.
And now it's just nuts and it's
Yeah.
insurmountable. So you got to pick and choose.
Basil says, "What is a game you put off recently? You put off, but recently picked back up. For me, it was Cyberpunk. It has been an incredible experience. Shout out to Fran for speaking about the game. Nice.
We broke through.
Nice.
Now I can collect my money. You hear me?
The only one that I just started playing again that's old is Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, that's a good one though.
And I'm going to keep playing it. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it was Armored Core 6. I talked about it.
Yeah. I've been trying to do what you're doing, Fran, and going back and playing some of the games I missed in 2023, but I've been doing it a lot slower, and I got kind of caught by Prince of Persia.
Yeah. But that's so nice though when you just get caught by a game and it's really, really good. So
Yeah.
But yeah, but again, that's why I'm being careful about stuff like PalWorld. I personally just can't see. And Once Human, the beta was the same way. Like I know I'll like them a lot, but especially like with Once Human, I'm like that's going to be out again later, and even then, I don't know if I'm going to have time versus the other stuff I want to play. So
Yeah, I could see you enjoying Once Human.
oh, I think I'd be all. You almost got me to do it. I was like I can't.
Oh, I did reinstall Elden Ring. I think I was talking about last week. I wasn't sure if I was gonna try and replay through the game before the DLC came out.
And are you going to replay it?
Well, I started watching like some of the videos about the lore and stuff. I'm like, I don't remember any of this happening. I'm like, I think it's a perfect time to replay through this because I don't remember half of the shit that happened. So I think some of it would feel fresh. So I think I am gonna replay through it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play New Game Plus or just regular, like just start a brand new character. But I think I am gonna play another playthrough.
Nice.
Is anybody as the last note on this one? I swear it's every 3 months I think about Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know why.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
but I
that game.
I'm always this close to picking it up, and I want to actually the Legends mode they added was like super dope.
Oh
that
my
we
God.
played. We talked about it last week, I think. Yeah,
It was
like
so
I
good.
always think about that game.
I think that game was pretty good. I think the Legends content was spectacular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. Nailed it, man.
Three Bros One Controller podcast says just got Prince of Persia, so good. What's your thoughts on the previous Prince of Persia games?
Oh man, I love them.
Dude,
I absolutely love them.
I can't stand the first one, like the original, like
Really?
2D. Like, I can't
Oh.
stand it.
That's the only one that I've ever played.
Oh, really? I hate that game. Like it's so difficult and it's so infuriating with like the way you have to like just line up your character just so to jump over these spikes. Otherwise, you'll like clip them with your toenail and die. But all of like the 360 era ones, like those
Sands
were
of
all
Time
great.
and
Yeah, Sands of Time. Was that the first one, Sands of Time?
I think so.
And then what was this? Was it like Brotherhood of Darkness or something?
We're past that. Two Brothers of Darkness.
Yeah, they were good. Loved them.
Yeah, I enjoyed them a lot.
I mean, people to be more out with it. I think a lot of people want those games again. We're waiting for them, and then we got the 2D Metroidvania inspired one, and people were happy to see it. But I think everybody really wants to see it come back. The problem was like many of like Dead Space went through this. Like I think the third one was like not really that good. The team had kind of gotten shuffled, and like Prince of Persia went through all the same stuff that it kind of ran its course and has people questioning. I'm pretty sure that the later you get in the race, it's like, well, the first few were really good, and then it kind of needed to go back to the drawing board.
Wasn't Assassin's Creed kind of like a progression from the same team?
Oh, probably, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they moved on to. Probably.
I was
You
going to
might be right
comment
about
on
that.
Assassin's Creed that the first one is one of those games that could have had a large chunk of stuff taken out and it would have been infinitely better. The very first Assassin's Creed, I actually finished it, which I don't finish a ton of games, but there's so many like fetch quests and stuff at a certain point. You're just like, I just want to
Very
progress the
repetitive
story.
too, right? It's
So
like the same
engaging.
thing over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
But it
The
was
second
cool.
one was much better in that regard, but
It was much better. The Mohegan says, if you were a Transformer, would you be an Autobot or a Decepticon? Bonus, would you transform? What would you transform into?
this is gonna get bad real quick.
What would be the best thing to transform into? Because that
Traffic
doesn't that
light.
kind of like Autobots could only be cars, right? But Decepticons could be just about anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
So you'd want to be a Decepticon.
I mean, unless I'm gonna be a car, I could be a cool car, I guess, or I could be a fucking jet.
Were there any that
Yeah,
were like in
Starscream.
between the two that kind of like worked both sides? Are there anything like that? Because Briar would totally be that.
Oh, that's mean.
If there isn't,
There was
should
a
be.
tape. Remember, there was like a Walkman guy, and the tape deck. The tape came out, and it was a dog.
Really?
Yeah,
Which one
Soundwave.
is
That
that?
was his name.
Oh.
He was a tape deck, like a Walkman.
Oh, Sonoma says Autobots have been jets and other things too, like vehicles. I think they have to be.
Yeah, it was a
they've been
micro.
dinosaurs too. If you get all into the new shit, I'm
Yeah.
talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
classic auto, like the classic.
Yeah, you're right. He was a micro cassette recorder.
It wasn't the Home Alone one, was it? The
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
no. I mean, definitely a Decepticon because they
Yeah.
get to be cool as shit.
They're all the cool stuff.
Listen, I'm an Autobot because I'm like a golden retriever. I can't play Grand Theft Auto because I can't do all the nefarious shit in the game without
Yeah.
feeling bad. I'm boring.
Yeah, you could be a Prius.
I'd be
You could
proud to
transform
say.
into a Prius.
Excuse me.
He doesn't want to look too cool. We get it.
A bicycle.
Frilly handlebars.
I mean, a spaceship. It'd be cool to transform into a spaceship, right?
Sure.
Spaceship would be cool. You could go
Right.
to space.
Yeah.
I'd want to
That'd
be
be
like a
pretty cool.
stealth something.
I never understood the
Sounds
gun
fine.
thing. Like, you transform into a gun and somebody else has got to shoot you. It's like, until then, what do you just lay on the floor? I never
It's like
understood
Pickle
that.
Rick. I'm a pickle. Look at me. Yeah, you just gotta wait.
Look at me. Last question of the evening. Sparty for you says, I've been thinking about getting a Switch. At first, I thought I've been thinking about getting rich. I support that. You should get
Good
rich.
thing to think about.
Yeah. Do you think it's worthwhile to get one now, or do you think it's better to wait for the next version?
Well, that's a money question, but
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
would wait.
If the money
wait.
matters, I would wait.
I would definitely wait. Yeah. I feel like we're like right at the end of this Nintendo. So this
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah, I would personally wait.
If you are resourceful and you can find a good deal, I'm the kind of person, if that were me and I was like tight and I was thinking about it, I would just like be patient and wait to try to find, because you can get a Switch Lite probably for about $100. You can get a regular Switch, like an older one, for not much more than that, maybe 125 in decent condition. And when a new one comes out, you'll be able to sell that old one for dang near close to what you paid for it.
That's true.
So it's just
Good point.
about being resourceful.
Just
and
like
then
you do with your
likely
Xbox.
and
That is
likely
a
those
better
games
strat.
likely those games are going to be backwards compatible. So
That's what I was gonna bring up. We don't know, and you kind of
For sure.
assume that you won't have to rebuy, and therefore will have access to this old catalog. But that's the big question. Like,
usually Nintendo goes at least one
Mhm.
one generation of like you think about the Wii to the Wii U and the GameCube to the Wii, and usually they go one
Wii U
generation
to the
of.
Switch. Oh wait.
Nobody had a Wii U, so it didn't matter. But
Nobody noticed that their Wii
I
U
liked the
games
Wii U
didn't
personally,
play on
but
Switch.
I just throwing shade at myself.
That is actually the high IQ strat. Yeah, just buy like a cheap current Switch, play some of the good stuff, and either way you'll be happy with that. But then you can probably at the very least trade in, resell for pretty close to the price.
Yeah.
Or keep the games and then trade in just the hardware and
Because
then
nothing's
upgrade
been
to the new
announced
one.
yet. It could be what, a year before
Yeah, who
like we
knows?
even see anything.
Yeah.
It could be almost 2 years before it's actually released.
Or
Like
they could
they
announce
might.
it and it could be out by March.
Yeah, that's true. They
Yeah, I was
usually
gonna say,
it's gonna be a holiday. At the earliest, it will be a holiday release, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was
They
gonna
never
say
release outside of holiday season.
it almost
Would
certainly
they
would
release the
release
Switch in March?
the
It got delayed,
Switch. Yeah.
didn't it? Probably.
No, it was an early year release. But that's what I was gonna say. I think they'll stay. They're already in this fiscal year, and that's really what it's about. So they'll do between September and end of March for the next
They'll
one.
announce it
It'd
and
be
then release within
crazy
3
if it
months
was
or
past.
something.
Yeah.
If it's not a money
point.
thing, if you're just wondering if there's games for you, there are a ton of
Yes.
games on the
Yes.
Switch. Like there's so many. And if you're worried about the power of the Switch, what I like about the Switch the most is that I can play a lot of kind of those indie games that don't take a whole lot of power. A lot of them are like 2D or like light 3D stuff. And a lot of times they're kind of perfect to play in a handheld format. It's it's like it's not like this audio visual like like blow you away kind of thing, but it becomes kind of like a more personal experience when you're just kind of like enjoying it in a quiet room on a handheld. I love the Switch. It's become one of my favorite consoles of all time. I highly recommend checking
Has
one out.
this
Depends what you want to play, I'd say.
It definitely does depend on what you want to play.
Because I would just get a Steam Deck personally.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
have the
that's another
disposable
option.
income, yeah.
But there's no
Um,
there's no physical games for the Steam Deck, so
Yeah. Is the Switch at this point, have they eclipsed like the most titles for a system like for Nintendo yet? Have they
I don't
eclipsed the
know.
Wii yet? Because there are like isn't there thousands of games at least, or like there's over
Sure
1,000,
there
I know
are.
that, of games
Yeah.
in the library.
I don't know.
There's
I
so many, and there's a lot
mean,
of
it
good
probably
titles for under
eclipsed it, yeah.
$20 too. There's a lot of good titles for under $20.
Yeah, I mean, it's also been 7-8 years or whatever, right? So it's a longer period of time.
Yeah, when did the Switch come out? Was that 2016?
2017, right?
2017? Yeah, it's been a long one.
Yeah, March, I think 2017.
Doesn't feel
Looking
like
it up.
that long ago, to be honest.
Switch is. I've never turned around so hard on a console. I thought it was ridiculous when they first announced it, and now it's one of my favorites of all time.
I have not used my Switch in many years.
No, it just sits there unused, huh?
There's very little that I really want to play on there. And a lot of the games I do want to play are on the Steam Deck, so
Yeah,
that's just what ends up happening.
A lot of those games that you're probably playing on a Steam Deck, I'm buying and getting on
PC.
cartridges, and it just kind of, for me, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to get the cartridge, like
Yeah.
Cult of the Lamb and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, originally that's why I had that reaction. I was like, it's just getting so old as a piece of hardware. But to your point, like everything, there's so many good games, and you kind of can't go wrong. And hopefully it's backwards compatible. So
Yeah,
let the
way.
software guide you to what you want to get for hardware, I guess.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really what it should be, right? What are the games you want to play? And
Yeah,
is there
what do you-
enough of them to
Yeah.
justify a purchase?
hmm
I do wish that if you could see anybody who's watching the video, like all the Switch games, it's just red spines. It's so bland looking.
Yeah, it is.
I hope they do a different
You could
color.
just flip them inside out and they'd all be white and blank. Even
I
better.
really
Flip
like.
every other one like that, and it'll be like a candy cane.
Yeah, I really like Japanese GameCube boxes. They
Yeah.
were small,
Smaller
really
ones, yeah.
artful all around. I think every time the spines, I think, were uniquely whatever, because it was a wrap. It wasn't, it was a cardboard wrap versus a spine of, like a standardized title or whatever.
What's y'all's favorite console box art of all time? I think Briar's brought this question to Retro Slot, but
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be in that realm of like GameCube, Japanese. I'd have to look through. The Wind Waker one stands out to me. I'd have to look it up, but that catches my brain for some reason.
The Wii was pretty good because it was like an all white case, like the DVD case was white, and then the labels were pretty uniform, where they just have like a white spine with like a colored logo of the game, which I always thought was pretty clean and pretty good looking. But the Genesis, I mean, obviously.
I'm partial to the SNES boxes myself,
Yeah.
but
I have no idea.
All right, guys, let's wrap this one up. Jay, aren't you doing like something cool for like cool people?
Dude.
yeah, so next week, it was mentioned in the TWAB too. The game to give stuff's going on currently, and we're getting towards the end of it. So next week we're doing our I do this twice a year now. We do this twice a year as a community, the Destiny community Raid-a-Thon. So a bunch of currently there are 36, and I'm trying to get 40 to 45 creators signed up. Are going to be raiding for Game to Give for Bungie Foundation next week, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific, and then 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Pacific. So 2 streams every day, all week. And
Very nice.
basically, our goal is to like complete raids, and there's going to be all these donation challenges and stuff, and Bean Boozled and things to try to keep us from finishing the raids. That's kind of the goal of the audience, to keep us. So you can change our loadouts. You can send us to orbit. You can change the raid, do all this fun stuff, and just like torture your favorite streamer. And that's kind of the purpose.
This is
of it.
where
Should be a
those
lot of fun.
jelly bean babies come in.
Gross.
This is basically
Never.
like if you were here for the
Thanks for reminding
GCX
me
stuff
why I
last
hate
year.
Jay.
If you were here for the GCX stuff last year, and you thought that was fun, it's basically all week of
I didn't
doing
think
that
it
with
was
a bunch
fun.
of different creators.
Bean
Well,
Boozled
people
is the
watching may have
worst.
thought it was fun. So
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send them those nasty beans.
lots of multi streams and stuff next week should be fun.
Band-Aid flavored
I
jelly bean.
literally
Are you kidding me?
I literally send people PayPal so they can buy it if they don't have them. Like
They are
90
really disgusting.
92% of the people are gonna have them.
They're
Funny
really
best.
bad.
They are really funny.
There's literally a new Nintendo Switch rumor.
Is there?
Right
Yeah.
now.
Like
What's
right
the
now, like
source?
18 minutes ago.
What's the source?
Oh my god, 18 minutes? Jesus.
Yeah,
Reddit's the source.
yeah. It's got an 8-inch LCD, no OLED. 7-year-old Switch console. Yeah, I don't know. I got to read the whole thing. We'll talk about it next week.
Probably fake.
Probably fake.
No, I know. I don't know. It could be.
Wario 64. I don't know. Bloomberg.com. Isn't that Jason?
Oh, it's coming from Bloomberg. Yeah. Takashi Mochi Izuki. And well, it's on Bloomberg, so that's interesting.
Something.
Well, now I don't have access to this article, Briar. We have to
I
know
you
now.
gotta pay
This
$19.99
is more
to get it.
legit.
What am I supposed
Yeah.
to do?
You can't read it?
Is it
No,
on
it's-
Twitter? Is it
Is it paywalled?
It's paywalled.
Mm.
hold on.
All right. Anybody have access? Otherwise,
No. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap this one up. We'll talk about the rumor next week.
what
Thank y'all for
Thanks,
joining
everybody.
us. Have an amazing weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Enjoy your family. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.